Let me start my program out by always doing this. I always worry about shit, but you know the one guy who always comes through for me? Xander Kraus and JAKIB Media. They've never let me down. I want to start that out by giving those guys kudos. I don't think I do it enough. I've never bitched about, here, I'll take that back. Not that I've never bitched, but I've never really had to worry. It's all good, man. Welcome aboard a Football Friday. We always start the program off by saying this. Big Sills and the most famous phrase in all of sports. Football Friday. And the only place you get truth, justice, in the Big Sills way is the National Football Show on JAKIB. How you doing? Yes, indeed. I'm all dressed out in Canes. Canes tonight, Virginia Tech. How you doing? It is all good. Love it. Oh, by the way, our 4 hours are powered by our good friends at BetUS. Got to get that there. Our standard is on today. I'll tell you who's becoming legendary. Xander Kraus and his takes. You know, I've had other guys on my program before. Xander gets the most views of all those dudes that I've used on my show before. Xander Kraus. Yes, him. Co-host of Birds 365. He's killing it. I wouldn't put this guy on more than twice. Now he's killing it. He's killing it with his show with John McMullen. I saw John McMullen. And only John McMullen way. Hey now. There was an A.J. Brown sighting? Interesting. I don't know what that means. Are you throwing smoke signals out to Todd Bowles and the Bucs by having him out there at practice? It's good stuff. Jameson comes in with the first super chat of the day. We appreciate it. All super chats go to the top. By the way, legendary week in super chats, plus the likes were off the charts. We appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. Did you see Nick's presser? He talked more about his wife than the actual team. Also, reports are now coming out that Hassan Reddick wants to be traded back. Jameson. Lane Johnson also practiced as well. Fantastic. Sills, how about them Cowboys? I learned nothing about the Cowboys' pathetic win against the Giants team that they own. What did you learn? They beat a shitty Giants team? I learned nothing about the Cowboys except that the Cowboys are still shitty. By the way, as I move on, I'll get to Reddick here. I talked to Boomer Esiason and Craig Carton, and I'll get you the update on Hassan Reddick. By the way, Rich Samini, the guy who covers the Jets, where do you think he got it from? So let's go to the horse's mouth, Boomer Esiason and Craig Carton. I'll tell you what they told me here in a second about Reddick. You paid $60 million for Dak Prescott. Why? I mean, dude, I don't know. It's not that the Cowboys can upgrade. That's where their problem is. They can't upgrade. You know how you want to upgrade your seat when you get on an airplane to go to first class? The Cowboys can't buy a first-class ticket with the Cowboy position. Dak Prescott's not a first-class ticket. He's A-class. You know, I mean, it's a great ride. It can get you places. There's a lot of comfort. You really enjoy it. But, dude, what's the difference between being an A-class and business class? Not much. A meal? Keep the meal. Give me the comfort, especially on a 5-hour trip. Now, if you're talking first-class seating, we got a whole different room here. Dak is like A-class. He's good. He's going to win games. But at the end of the day, you're not going to travel in style with him as your quarterback, and you're paying that money. Dude, here, and here's my boy here, and I love him very much. If you're going at Dak, you didn't watch the game. That's not the point. It's fucking Giants? Really? 304? You're gonna hang your hat on a team that they've owned. And then I'm gonna ask you, do you come out of that game 304 as a Cowboy fan? Do you come out of that game going, hey, Dak Prescott's gonna lead me and win me a Super Bowl in Dallas? Of course you don't. Dude, of course you don't. You look at him and you go, hey, by the way, 304, he's a really good player. He's a good player. Dak Prescott's a good player, and I like him. I like Dak. But do I think Dak Prescott's a championship quarterback? I don't. He's going to throw for, watch this. Dude, he's a black guy version of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the white guy version of Dak Prescott. They're the same dude. They're the same guy. Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins are the same person. They're no difference. They win a lot. They throw for a ton of yards. Okay? I mean, I don't see it. Tell me I'm wrong. What does Dak Prescott do more than Kirk Cousins? Does he throw for more touchdowns? No. Does he throw for more yards? No. They're the same. The only reason you look at Kirk Cousins differently is because he played in Washington, Minnesota, and now Atlanta. But if you reverse that and put Cousins in Dallas, you'd be calling him he'd be making $60 million instead of the money he's making in Atlanta right now. That's the only difference. 304, you got to see it. Could somebody do this? Crowley, I don't know if you want to do this or anybody. You should put the 7 years or how many years that Dak's been in the league with Cousins and his numbers in the league. I guarantee you they're identical. They're identical. Hey, are both guys functional and good enough to have on your team? Yes, absolutely. Do you think they're going to win you a championship? No. This is a good one from Wayne here. They're both overpaid. Yes. Dude, how about this? Get this one here. You couldn't pay Patrick Mahomes enough money. Right? If Daniel Jones wasn't cross-eyed and had a weak arm, the Cowboys would have lost the game. Cowgirls barely sacked him. No excuses. Absolutely, man. That game was weighed. Hey, dude, if they had any functional, 304, thanks, Prince. Hey, if they had any functioning running game, they'd have beat the Cowboys. What are you doing with that relic of a running back in Zeke Elliott? He sucks. Are you putting him in a Cowboy uniform for nostalgic reasons so fans will buy the jersey? How many people believe that Jerry brought him back so that they'll continue to buy Zeke Elliott jerseys and the fans will really like that because it's Zeke running the ball as a Cowboy and he can finish his career? Devontae, win-loss record. Prescott, NFL's record. 53-32, 623. Cousins, 48-45, 505. Okay? Little better. Devontae doesn't have Dallas Cowboys. He had the Daniel Snyder Washington Commanders. Actually, really? I thought he was up near 70 wins, Kirk Cousins. I thought Cousins was up near 70. Kirk Cousins' stats, that number doesn't look right. You may be right, dude. I may be wrong here. Yeah, Kirk Cousins is 77-69. Oh, you went the years that Prescott's in. Yeah, he was in Washington and he was in Minnesota. Okay. But Kirk Cousins is 77-69-2. I got what you did, though. I know what you did. I understand. Okay? I got what you said. Kurt's been in shittier situations, though, and he's won. Skins were trash. Ask James Jones. He'll tell you. Daniel Snyder's. I can't remember the last time. The Commanders won it a couple of years ago, the NFC East. Okay? I thought Dak wins more than Kirk. He does. He wins a little more. He has, especially the last 3 years. Okay? Dan, most Cowboy fans didn't want Zeke back. They were not buying his jerseys, and they're not buying his jerseys here in Dallas. DFW sports fan. Okay, I mean, tell me this, DFW. The two biggest colossal disasters at the running back position this offseason has to be the Giants moving off of Barkley. By the way, I'm going to get to that here in a minute. And the Cowboys not signing Derrick Henry. Guy has 2 houses in Dallas. Hey, I'm going to disagree with John McMullen and Xander Krause here right now. Hey, you really? You think the Giants last night would have beat the Dallas Cowboys with Barkley in the backfield? How many? Hey, 304. Anybody. If Barkley was playing last night for the Giants, do you think the Giants would have beat the Cowboys last night if they had Saquon Barkley last night? I mean, they could run the ball to save their life. I don't even know what they were running jet sweeps with what? The Dallas Cowboys couldn't even run the ball. They had to put CeeDee Lamb back there. Okay? I mean, I think the Giants win the game last night. Daniel Jones didn't play awful. They just couldn't finish drives. They couldn't finish drives. Somebody was saying to me on my Twitter, hey, Sills, you got to show some respect for Mozzie Smith against the fucking New York Giants O-line. That was like playing against Northwestern. The Giants have a horrible O-line. A horrible O-line. I disagree with Xander and John McMullen. If you're Joe Schoen, I don't know how you justify you have no running game. Either that or you are trying to do and you're going to use a $48 million quarterback as a gap and a stopgap quarterback. Are you crazy? The New York Giants, you know who a stopgap quarterback is? Geno Smith, Tyrod Taylor, Baker Mayfield, guys like that. Those are bridge quarterbacks to the next guy. Even Kirk Cousins, he's a bridge to Michael Penix. You don't use a $46 million guy who's still in his 20s as a bridge. You use a 10, 15, dude, you know what? Nobody would be saying anything about Daniel Jones if Daniel Jones was making $15 million. Nobody would say shit about it. But because he makes $46 million, people are going to say shit about it. Holy cow. I mean, some of these organizations, and some people, the objective as a general manager is to acquire great offensive players in this league. Look at Howie. You really think Howie Roseman needed Barkley? Turns out maybe he did. Because Barkley's been the factor of why the team's 2-1 for sure. How can Daniel Jones be decent behind that line? He can't be. How about this? Let's do one thing here. Then we'll move on to the Eagles and Buccaneers. Let me ask you this. Do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers would be undefeated if Daniel Jones was the quarterback in Pittsburgh? I do. How many people believe that the Steelers would be undefeated with Daniel Jones? Daniel Jones throws a better football than Justin Fields ever did. The Steelers would be undefeated. They'd probably move Fields or Russell Wilson. Can you imagine? How about this? With that defense, With that defense, Daniel Jones would be undefeated. That's right, Randy. Randy's got it here. Guys, please hit the like button. That's right. Steelers. Hey, Randy. Randy, how old are you? How old are you, Randy? Daniel Jones has good protection. Underthrew player sales. We all see it. Yeah, Martin. He's better than you're old? Randy, then. Good. You're old like me. Randy, have you ever not known the Steelers not to be great on defense? Right? I think Daniel Jones is underrated because he's on a shitty team. Hey, get this. Just for the record, thanks for the super chats. If you guys, I don't want to make this a giant deal here, but so if you guys thought Saquon Barkley was underutilized as a New York Giant and you thought he never played behind a good line or good talent, doesn't that apply to Daniel Jones too? I mean, or is it just Barkley? I mean, if Barkley didn't play with good people, how do you not apply that to Daniel Jones? Has he ever played with great players? And him and Barkley did get to the playoffs 2 years ago. It was kind of fraudulent. Get this. What in the world are you talking about? Sileo's glazing got Daniel Jones looking like Chris. The fuck are you talking about? Daniel Jones is a mediocre quarterback because he's on a mediocre franchise. When Jalen Hurts doesn't have all his players, he's a mediocre quarterback. Look at his turnovers. Look at his record in the last 2 years. In the last year and 2 games, he's 13-8. He ain't winning a ton of games since he got the new contract. We pointed that out yesterday. You guys are making it sound like this guy here has been winning since he got his bag of money. That ain't true. 13-8 is mediocre. You're in the middle of the room. Put the turnovers on top of that, you're below the middle of the room. I don't know. Since Jalen Hurts got his money, he's not anything near the second runner-up in the MVP voting. Get this. Martin goes 13-8. Hey, this is a lead here. This is what he says. This guy's making a big deal at 13-8 with a playoff loss involved in it. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay. Martin's happy with 13-8. So you're saying Mayfield, Fields, and Darnold are all a mirage. I don't know. Darnold's 3-0 with good coaching. Mayfield just signed a 3-year, $100 million contract. Fields is now with a good organization in Pittsburgh. He's undefeated. Baker Mayfield has actually played pretty damn good since he went to Tampa. Get around good organization with good players and good teams? I don't know. Sam Darnold's unbeaten. He's got a big game this weekend against Green Bay. You think there's any coincidence that all three are doing well? I'm saying, don't you think? Hassan Reddick. So somebody posted this, and I followed up with Boomer Esiason and Craig Carton. Craig knows the owner. Boomer knows the owner. Boomer knows the general manager, Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas is on WFAN every week. And Boomer does remotes from the Jet Complex every week. It's a giant network, but the networking that's in WFAN is mostly Jets guys. Now, Craig is no longer, he does a weekend show, I think, on FAN, and I think they've hooked his kid up or something. And I go, is that story true? That Reddick would like to come back to the Eagles. He said if he had his choice, he would mend fences, and I don't know what would have to happen, but they would mend fences and try to make something where he can come back to Philly. Now, what does that mean? He's already lost $9 million. That's non-refundable. So, I mean, what are we talking? I don't know what the parameters would be of that, plus with the contract and with the trade on how that would work out. Do you void the deal and send him back? What would the Jets require more? Who pays the fine? How are you going to compensate him? He's already lost almost all of his salary for 2024. He's been fined $9.8 million. His salary's $14.5 million. How in the world do you pay him? What are you going to pay him? $200,000? I mean, he has to pay that according to NFL Players Association rules, that when you miss games and you're not in camp, you pay a fine daily. There's no way around this money-wise for him. If I'm Hassan Reddick, I sit out the entire year. I'm not playing for free. Right now, he'd be playing for free. Now, can the league in some way offset those fines where they're not as catastrophic, where you have to pay them all at once? I don't know how that works. Like, can you spread it out and defer it? I don't know that. But he would like to come back and play. Okay? I mean, but I don't know how that would work with the contingent second-round pick, third-round pick, the compensation. I don't know how that would work. It would be very complex to try to make that thing happen. He's not playing for the Jets. That thing's dead. He does not want to play in New York. That thing's over with. If he came back, he'd be playing for $5 million because he owes $9.8 million already in fines. I mean, now, once again, I said, can you defer it out 10 years and can you pay? I don't know how they have that set up, how much you have to pay in bulk. I don't know. Okay? Yeah, uncharted territory. Hurts. I've never heard of how something like if you even traded him, say, to Minnesota, okay? He owes 9.8 in fines. He wants a $20 million contract. He's playing for 11. Is that how it would work? How much of that 9.8 do you have to pay? Do you have to pay a bulk of it? A percentage of it? Can you defer it? I don't know. Okay? I don't know. This is another good one here by Andres. I don't know, Sills. He missed all the camp. What kind of shape is he in? He's a kung fu expert. This whole time, we have a third rounder away for Dotson. We gave a third rounder away for Dotson, but not for Hendrickson. Signed him to a 2-year contract. Hey, Xander, I missed one. Martin, that's a good one. Hendrickson, we'll see what happens this week with Cincinnati. I missed the super. Here we go. His samurai training has kept him in shape. Ooh, Jackie Chan. Hassan. I love the shoes and the umbrella. Holy shit, this guy's a ninja. I mean, Hassan Ninja Warrior. I don't know why I'm spinning the umbrella because, he's spinning the umbrella. Right? Mind over matter. You see, Daniel-san, it's my over matter. I won't play for the Jets, but I play because I'm Hassan Reddick. I pay for the Eagles. What? Jackie Reddick. Jackie Reddick. Jackie Chan teaching him hand speed. Woo! How to get around defensive tackles. He'll need it. That's for damn sure. There you go. Hey, Forrest. I like that, Forrest. Hassan Warwick. Hey. This is too much here. That's enough of this. All right. I'd be thrown off the radio for sure. Reddick is the new ghost dog. Oh, my God. Hilarious. Hassan Reddick. You guys are, hey, okay, enough. Randy, really? Wait a minute. Wait, where's Randy here? Randy, if you don't know this about this show by now, you must be a new viewer, Randy. Hey, Randy, welcome to the last of the broadcasting shows that, well, everything is no holds barred. Okay? This is what it used to be, Randy. Okay? When sarcasm and everything and fun was okay. That's what this show is. Okay? Right, Sue? Hassan! Totally inappropriate. No shit. So was him sitting out spinning an umbrella in Japan. Not being in camp. Dan Sileo. M. Reyes, this is the funniest you've ever been in your life. How you doing? Okay? Sills, this show is not for snow. Is the fairy godmother. Yes, he is. The greatest, the Philly Godfather at 5:30 Eastern. Prince. All right, let's get. Hey, should we get into Eagles and my prediction? Don't tell me what Xander did today. I already know what he did. Let me guess. Hey, this is just a guess. Hurts 5 touchdowns, 448, 158 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 23 of 26, and they beat him 39-1. I'm sure John echoed it too. So we'll give you our takeaway. By the way, we'll get that actual thought at 3:30 Eastern. Jason Cole texted me. And this goes down the light of you guys. He was on your side. He goes like this. I told you that Philadelphia defense, that stout defense, the Xander no holes defense was going to stop New Orleans. So I got to eat a little crow with Jason Cole at 4:30. And then Philly Godfather will join us at 5:30 Eastern time. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Oh, man. No wonder Xander gets calls. Sills, the only trade with the Jets should be for Joe Douglas. Let Douglas run the draft, promote Howie to emperor, handling everything but the draft. I trade for short-term fixes. Let's build. He's tired of short-term fixes. Let's build. Akbar. We move on, Akbar. Akbar, shit, that fits you better than anybody in here so far. You and Sue. We move on to the game this week. I don't know why I'm doing that. I have no idea why I'm doing that. I guess that's in honor of Hassan Reddick. The Dojo King. You have Doja Cat. You have Doja Cat, who I dig. Okay, we have Doja Reddick. Hey, Wayne, Doja Reddick. I love Doja Cat. How you doing, man? Big Sills just crossed Mulberry Street from Little Italy into Chinatown. Great for you, Bob. Dude, I love that neck of the woods, man. I love it down there. Down to Soho. Then you go to Chinatown. Absolutely fantastic grub down there. Both Chinatown and Little Italy. Right? Sills Doja. Doja Reddick. All right. Big Sills predictions. How many people believe that the Buccaneers? No, let's do this. How many people believe that the Eagles go into Tampa? Rainy Tampa, stormy Tampa. Hey, also, all our good friends in Florida, hope you're doing great, man. Especially going up the East Coast, too. I hope you're all cool, man. Hurricanes are nothing to sneeze at. So I hope all is well. I saw the flooding in Tampa. Not good. All up and down the coastline there. The thing wreaked havoc. Like over 2 million people now without power. I don't know how that affects the game. It probably has to affect the travel for the Eagles. Xander, unless you know something different, there's no way they took off today to go down to Tampa. All flights were canceled. So that means this. Instead of getting in on Friday night, they got to possibly get in day of the game. Or tomorrow, if flights are back with Tampa International. Flights at Tampa International have been canceled. So that's going to be a travel issue now for the unless they left yesterday. Hey, Xander, is John down in Tampa right now? Because if he's not, I mean, usually teams take off Friday for a Sunday game. And you get down there on a Friday, you have a walkthrough at the stadium on Saturday, and you play Sunday. Okay? Jameis says no in Philly. Okay. Well, then they're not getting there till at least Saturday night or Sunday morning. They may have to fly the day of the game to get to that game. So that's a travel issue. Okay? It was worse yesterday, Leo. Okay. They may fly out. They may fly out tonight late if it's cleared, but I know Tampa International's with limited flights going in there. Now, could they fly into Orlando, take a bus across? They could do. Look at what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about having to overcome travel issues here. Now, you could fly into Orlando in the middle of the state because Orlando is open. Fly into the middle of Orlando and then take a bus on the 4 and go across. Philly 4x4. Stills in Hillsborough County right now, as usual, after a storm. It's sunny and 88. Field should be dry, fast on Sunday. Okay. Now, is that the eye or has the storm passed them? Because travel issues are going to be an issue. Hey, Little Tone, right? You're right. It's not that long of a flight. It's about a 2.5-hour flight to get down there. Okay. Stu goes, I hate Orlando Airport. Not the best. Okay. And Ryan's right. That airport's a zoo, especially getting in and out of it, man. I've flown thousands of flights out of that place. Tampa's way better. Craig says the storm is past. They may take off then tonight to get down there so they can get through their walkthrough tomorrow. But still, it's a travel issue that you have to cope with. Remember something, too. So is the hotel you're moving into, do they have power? Okay, I mean, are the streets flooded? Flooding is always an issue after a storm like this down there. To and from Dale Mabry. Dale Mabry's always underwater. Always underwater, Dale Mabry. Anybody who lives in that area, you guys chime in. Those retention ponds overflow onto the street. You could be in 4 foot of water and not realize it. Okay, so that's traveling to and from the stadium also. Now, they probably play at the Sheraton and stay at the Sheraton downtown, which if you come down Dale Mabry all the way from downtown, you probably make it cool, but there's a lot of flooding that goes on there. So, oh, yeah, Craig, this is going to be worse than Brazil because of the weather and what happened. Absolutely. Okay, guys, please hit the like button here. All right. How many people believe the Eagles go into this game and win on Sunday? Stadium is right by the bay. It's off Dale. Real Zeal goes like this. Are the clubs open? Those clubs never close, dog. I'm going to give you a little insight about Tampa. There's more strip clubs in Tampa than there are high schools, middle schools, and churches combined. Just to give you a little insight. Okay? 26-17. 24-17 Eagles. Sills, if they run, they win. If they get cute, they won't. Here's Daddy. By the way, all the new people that are coming aboard here, thank you very much, man. I see a lot of new faces in here. I don't believe they win. I know they will win. Okay. To Hughes, thank you very much for becoming a member. Really cool. Okay. Steve, 24-17. The Wonder Sills went to Miami and played in Tampa. Yeah. Okay. No chicks at Notre Dame. Miami strip clubs, the booby trap in Orlando. That I heard. There's a booby trap in Orlando that I heard. The Pink Palomino in Palm Beach. That I heard. And, of course, Mons Venus with the great Joe Redner, who I do know. Rachel's in Orlando happens to be one of my absolute favorite places to buy a steak. Yeah. Rachel's in Orlando. Is that place still going? That I heard. Revenge season, says Anthony. All right. It is, Tootsies. Look at Prince. He's got his little maps go out with all the top titty bars in Florida. Prince is like, Sills, for my money, it's Tootsies. How you doing? Rachel's is still open. Thanks for the update, Real Zeal. Rachel's is the shit. Hey. Let's not get off track. Here's Big Sil's takeaway. Look at Brent. Thanks, brother. Hit the like button, please, guys. All right. Here's Big Sil's takeaway for the Eagles-Bucks game. This is going to be an interesting ball game. Weather, injuries are going to play a massive factor. Alex, thank you for being a new member. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you very much for being a new member. Todd Bowles. Has he owned Jalen Hurts? Since he's matched up against him, how many times have they played? 4 times? And all of them seemingly, if I'm not mistaken, haven't all of them been in Tampa? Bowles won a championship with the Buccaneers as a defensive coordinator. And that first playoff game, they just wreaked havoc on him. The amount of sacks he has performed outside of the early season game of a year ago. Todd Bowles has owned him, right? 55% completion percentage, 2 TDs and 3 picks, 48-78. I mean, he's been sacked a ton. They blitzed the shit out of him. Todd Bowles is 3-1 against Hurts. That's got to be like the best coaching record against Jalen of anybody that he's played since he's been a starting quarterback, right? Maybe Dallas throw in there too a little bit. But Todd Bowles has owned him, especially 2 playoff games. 2 playoff games, he was terrible. Now, again, the first one in 21, you kind of give a hall pass because it's a rookie starting season for him. But you don't give him a hall pass for this past January for getting murdered in it. You don't give him any pass. He was terrible in that game, as everyone was. But the quarterback takes more of the heat for everything in that, right? Senor goes plus the game against Brady, but Todd was the DC, Senor, of that defense when Brady won the Super Bowl. Okay? He was the defensive coordinator of that team. Bucks have to do this here. They come into the game. Does anybody have an update on Kalijah Clancy? Kalijah Clancy, the kid from Pitt, and Vita Vea, are they playing? Are they listed as questionable? Because they were a non-factor in that Denver game. Okay? They were a non-factor in that game. I haven't heard if Clancy's playing. Andre says Via is playing. Okay, he's playing. That's going to be a great test for Cam. Okay? Andre, I'm going to save him for Monday. That's why we put on yesterday Marcus Hayes. We put him on yesterday. So we'll put Angelo on Monday. AJ and Devontae could be laying out. I know that they're giving you the look that they're going to play. I don't believe they're playing. Why not game plan it that way? I don't have a problem with that. Playing a little gamesmanship. I have no problem with that. I don't believe the three of those guys will be on the field come Sunday. Thank you, Cosmo. Appreciate that. Guys, please hit the like button. I don't think those guys are playing. I think they're too banged up. But you never know. But that doesn't seem to be like the Birds' MO. Damn, I'm at the game tonight. Miami, baby. Day to go. Hey, DRC. I didn't know that. You're at Hard Rock tonight? That's going to be a tough game, man, Virginia Tech. Thank God it's in Miami and it's not in Blacksburg. Place is a train wreck. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin will be a challenge, to say the least. It'll be a challenge. Do you go with the home team that has totally shut down Hurts and the Bucks? Remember, no Barkley, though. Here's my take. If Nick Sirianni could stay the fuck out of the way and the Bucks run the football, I think the Eagles win the game 27-20. I'm going to take the better quarterback, Jalen Hurts over Baker Mayfield. I'm going to take Hurts. Was that a tough choice? Not really. I think he's better without some of those stars on his team. So I'm going to take Hurts. This is going to be more about Kellen. Our defense plays like last week. We beat everyone. Look at this guy here, man. He's so can't see out sales. Factor. Seals, if he puts it together, the league will be in trouble. Spa says. Dude, if he wins this football game come Monday, I'll have a completely different opinion of Jalen Hurts. It'll change some of the narrative that I have about him if he wins on Sunday. By the way, if he loses close on Sunday, it may change my opinion of him. Seals Bucks have 17 players on the injury report. Well, Abe, you're probably not going to play with Lane, AJ, and Devontae. I don't know. You know? How much of a factor are those guys compared to some of the Buccaneer guys that may miss? That's right. Smitty's out. He won't clear protocol. I don't think so either. I don't think Lane is going to clear protocol, but likely won't clear protocol either. Brown is questionable, but likely a game time scratch or only active for emergency purposes. I wouldn't even put him on the sidelines in gear. Okay. 17 Abe is a lot. I agree with you. Sills, do you think Howie is working on bringing Reddick back? I first think that you have to work, Cosmo, on what the parameters would be and how that would look, bringing him back. I mean, does he want to play or does he want to get paid or both? Because if he wants to get paid, he's not going to come back to Philly. Philly's not going to give him a contract. They're stuck in that Bryce Huff deal. Even though they have $27 million in the bank, they can pay him. But again, that's a perception look, too, that they fucked up. Sills Bowles has done well against Hurts. I would say very well. But is it all Hurts' fault? No, it's schematics. The OC needs to see what's happening in the game and adjust. But here's my problem, Bob. The OC needs to see what's happening in the game. Well, does it matter when you have too many voices making decisions and opinions on what play should be run next? What's changed from 23? You heard Kellen and both Nick saying the dynamic 2024 is the same as it was in 2023. You just got smarter people in the room. Is that fair, Bob? The dynamic hasn't changed. You just got smarter people in the room. And that's what I think the organization was shooting for and why they didn't hire Kingsbury. Kingsbury wanted to do it himself. The organization wants to do it collaborative. And that was Doug Peterson's issue with it. I mean, I really don't think anything's changed. I just think you got smarter people. Wow. Antonio Winfield is out for the Bucs. That's a huge deal. That is a huge deal, man. That means Goddard up the middle on the hash marks. Bucs don't have anybody in that guy's room that can cover Dallas Goedert. Antonio Winfield, in my opinion, was the dude that covers the slot or covers the tight end. You don't have Antonio Winfield out there, you're in trouble if you're the Bucs. Now, again, what you do have is Todd Bowles. By the way, Virginia Tech was a mess of a place to play. My boys Marshall lost there 3 weeks ago. The thing is an insane place to play. Stadium rocks. Fans are nuts. Metallica, the whole thing. It's crazy ass. Just crazy. Carter and Davis need to have impact. I'm going to get to the keys of the game here and the key matchups. So I got the Bucs 27-20 here. Okay. Here are the matchups. Yes, David's playing. He's a heck of a linebacker, and he's a hell of a player. Levante David, man, I love him. What a great football player. Kellen Moore versus Todd Bowles. Who wins that? Bowles is the better coordinator by far. By far. What up, Big Sills? I'm sweating just looking at you in that hoodie. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little hot. It was a little cold when I started the show. You know, I'm getting older now. So now I have to watch the rest of the show naked until you take it off. Come on, man. See? Get on. Wait, tell me easy. Hey, someone tell me if I picked the Eagles to win versus the Buccaneers 27-20. Okay? So let's go here. Let's continue here. See, we're having a little internet issues. So, guys, please do me a favor. Keep hitting the like button. Thank you anyway. Maniac, you broke Sil's internet with that comment. Thank you. Thank you here. Hopefully this thing comes back here. We're experiencing a little bit of issues here. I think it's rolling back here now a little bit. So as it comes back here, let me sit here and let this thing. All right, here we go. Kellen Moore versus Todd Bowles. Who do you like in this matchup? I like Todd Bowles here. Bowles is a better coordinator. Bowles is a better coordinator. That's gonna be a great test for Kellen Moore. Q versus Mike Evans. Does Quinyon Mitchell shut down Mike Evans? No. Does he slow him? Yes. Weather? How many footballs are going to be put in the air on Sunday? 25? This will be a big test for Quinyon Mitchell. Mike Evans is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And he's going to be in the slot, and he's going to be on the numbers. That's going to be a matchup. Okay? I don't want him to beat him. I want him to slow him. Okay? Slow him down. And tell me this doesn't play a factor here. Dude, think about this. You've been going against A.J. Brown in practice the entire training camp, and now you get Mike Evans? What's the difference? There's where the schooling comes in. Hey, man, you know where his confidence is built? By going against Mike Evans? His confidence is built. I go against A.J. Brown. All about the you, baby. Got it? Hey, I've been going against A.J. Brown since I got here. Wait. Slay on Evans. No. I think you're going to have – I think Slay's going to be more on Godwin. Now, here's what we have to look at here. Huff is going to be going against that guy, Luke Godik. He's got to beat him. That guy's horseshit. Ian Beckles, who covers the team and is a former Buck, says the guy's garbage. Huff's got to beat him. Huff has got to beat him. Okay? He's got to beat him. Avonte Maddox on Chris Godwin. No way. I'll take Godwin on that all night. You know, I'm okay with Evans and Q. By the way, I think Mike Evans on Slay is a nightmare for the Eagles. I think Quinyon Mitchell on Mike Evans is more of a battle. I don't think he can handle him. Because you don't have the pass rush yet. Now, if you get a rush, Slay can handle him. But if you don't get a pass rush, Slay can't handle him. He can't handle him running up and down the field on him. 6'6" kid. No way. He's a physical mismatch against Darius Slay. That's right, Flexen. Pressure will be the key to this and how the secondary plays. It always is. Dotson on Jamal Dean. This is obviously if AJ's not playing. Jamal Dean's a good player. Dotson has no chance. So if you look at it, your guys are going to be covered. The only issue that the Bucs have is Antonio Winfield not playing. That's a big deal because that means the center of the field is going to have issues. But Todd Bowles will come up with a scheme to cover that. Todd Bowles is as good of a defensive-minded guy as anybody in the league. He is phenomenal. Brian Flores, Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, any coordinator you want to talk about, he's right there. He's the top of the shelf kind of coordinator. Todd is a great pressure package guy. Every time you see his football team, you have no idea what he's going to throw at you, and he never throws the same thing at you twice. He's very creative. Very creative. That's why he's a head coach and why he's been given opportunities. His schemes, like Brian Flores' schemes. I hope Brian Flores gets another opportunity to be a head coach again, because what he's doing in Minnesota, when you put on the 22 and watch Brian Flores, you understand what a savant he is defensively. He is brilliant. This guy lines up in 6 personnel, and then they drop 8. And you never know what you're looking at when you're a quarterback, and they rush 3. And you're like, they're all disguised. There's never a passing lane. And their guys fly to the ball in Minnesota. I mean, he'll line up in 6 front and have us. You never know who's coming. That's kind of what Todd does. You never know. Vic does a little bit of this. Okay? Vic does a little bit of this. You line up 6 guys across the front like they did against New Orleans. Now, here's the one difference that you're going to see with the Buccaneers and New Orleans. The Buccaneers are going to run 11 personnel. The Saints didn't. They were never really, outside a few plays, in 11 personnel. I'm not sure they were in ever 11 personnel against the Eagles, the Saints. But you're going to see a lot of 11 personnel in this game. Okay? That's a staple since Bruce Arians has been in the building in there, that they love that 11-man personnel set. Bowles is a great coach. Players love playing for him. He's one of the most underrated head football coaches in the league. I would enjoy playing for a guy like that. Do you think Vic this week will let the Bucs get yards in between the 20s instead of up against the goal line and say Baker can't beat us in the red zone? But you know what you do, David? And I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Guys, please hit the like button. David, the problem that you have with that philosophy, you're putting a lot of variables in there too. Fumble, blown coverage. Now, the reason that you love that kind of situation, and to me, I always felt this way. I always felt in red zone, it favored the defense because I have 14 versus 11. Why do I say 14 versus the 11 that you have in red zone if you're playing defense? Do you guys have an idea why? That I think it favors the defense in the red zone? Slagger, I think we're saying the same thing, Slagger. Okay? You got the sidelines, you got the back of the end zone. So you basically have 3 additional defenders and less space, like Slagger said. And I think you have a little bit less time for you to get those plays out. So they have to be quick 3-step drops and 5-step drop shit like that, or running plays when you're down in the red zone like that. You know, sidelines, back of the end zone. That's 3 extra defenders and limited space. I always feel as a defensive guy, I have the advantage when I'm down there. If you don't give a big chunk play up on first down, you're going to win that battle and force them to a field goal. Now, in this game, field goals may be what you're looking for because of the weather. I hope Nick doesn't pass on any of this shit. Even if it's 4th and 1 and you're on the 10-yard line, you better kick those fucking field goals with a rainy football game, limited players that you have on your team, limited stars. You can't pass points up in this game. Sirianni could cost you this game. He is something that keeps me on my toes because he could come up with a harebrained plan at any moment out there. We've seen it. Slagger, in on the road. Nick's got to get the fuck out of the way here. Absolutely. Okay? 4th and inches. Kick it. In the rain, you could fumble it, lose points, lose 15-12. Same way you won. I think this is a low score. It's going to be a low-scoring game. Not because the Eagles are not better, because the Eagles may not have all of their bullets in their chambers. Like, get this. The Bucs are going to have all their bullets pretty much. Antonio Winfield's a big loss, no question. Okay? But they're going to go in with pretty much everybody they have for the first 3 weeks. You're not. As of now. Okay? As of now. That may change. But if, let's just say they do play. Lane's not 100%. AJ won't be 100%. Look at the conditioning. There's no, why would you put AJ Brown on the field when he hasn't run in almost a month? Would you really bring him back? That's why I think that picture John McMullen posted is smoke and mirrors. I think it's great work by John. But this guy hasn't even run. All super chats go to the top. I appreciate it. Decoy for sure. I think you can make Baker make bad decisions. To think Slay and Q can cover Evan Godwin, it's Chris Godwin all day, is not realistic. Evan in front of Baker will get an INT. Keep Evan in front of Baker. He'll get an INT. I got what you're saying now. Thank you. Seals, did you see the clip from Saquon asking Jalen Carter, why not today? Why not dominate today? They're scared of you. I played against you. I know what they fear. I'll have to watch that. Someone told me to take a look at that. Wow. That's great leadership from Saquon Barkley. I've played against you. I know who you are. That's fucking brilliant. That's brilliant. Dude, I'll say it here to you guys. I couldn't be more wrong about a move Howie made and Saquon Barkley. He has been everything as advertised on and off the field. I don't like him dicking around with the Giants and him being butthurt that he's not a Giant still. But he's relishing his role as an Eagle, and he's enjoying it. Okay? He's enjoying it. You know, hey, everybody, Tom Brady's not a Buck. Tom Brady's a Patriot, but he enjoyed his time in Tampa. And that's how it is. I think Shady McCoy enjoyed his time in Buffalo. He's not a Bill. He's an Eagle. And he was butthurt when the Eagles moved him, but he enjoyed himself. That's what happens. Okay? When you move around like that, there's certain places you really have an identity for. And you enjoy yourself. And you enjoy the people. You enjoy how you played. Barkley's a Giant forever. But he's expanding his legacy in Philly. And he knows that. You can't say he's not done it 150% because he has. Leading the NFL in rushing. You know what Barkley's doing? Barkley is going out telling people, fuck you, you were wrong about me, including me. And he's doing it. He's doing it. That's the greatest fuck you of all time. Hey, you said I was done. You said I had bad legs. Well, here I am. I'm leading the NFL in rushing. I don't know how long it lasts, but I'll tell you one thing's for sure. I'm getting it done at least the first month of the season. You can find the clip on my X account at Prince. Okay, I'll make sure I check it out, Prince. Hey, Prince, do me a favor. Can you forward that over to me? Forward that over to my my X account, and I'll watch it in a break. Send it over at Dan Sileo Show. Thanks, brother. Totally great. Nick Sirianni versus Todd Bowles. What is the one thing that you learned about Raheem Morris in that Atlanta game that will carry over into the Buccaneer game? You understand Todd Bowles is a Tony Dungy guy / Raheem Morris / Mike Tomlin kind of guy. You know that, right? Those guys are all off that tree, right? Kyle goes time of possession. I'll tell you why you're right, okay? In KOP, tell the good folks down there in King of Prussia hi. Pressure sells. Eagles red zone defense top 4. Bucks red zone defense 14. Didn't expect the Eagles to have top 4 red zone defense. Here's what Raheem does. Raheem's got patience. He's not going to get flustered in any way. He don't mind giving field goals up. Todd Bowles. He doesn't want to give plus 25. That's what Raheem doesn't want to do. All those guys that play for Dungy, don't give up the big play. Play defense 20-20. Get off the field. Stats aren't an issue here. Time of possession is. One thing that the Eagles have done in 3 weeks has been what? They've owned the time of possession. They just haven't been able to get the offense. Hey, do me a favor. You guys are saying that the Eagles are really – is that right, Xander? Buccaneers or the Eagles are really great in the red zone, right? I'd like to know what the Eagle offense is in the red zone. Because that's how you're going to win games also. Scoring points. How good are the Eagles? Where are they ranked offensively in the red zone this year? If you think it's a bad idea to let them get yards in between the 20s, then you do blitz. This Bucks bad line is made for Baker to make quick decisions. Outside of their left tackle, I don't think they got shit back there, David. Okay, here's Kyle. Always count on Kyle. So the Eagles are 4th or 5th, I saw them, in red zone defense. They're 24th in red zone offense. Not working on the same page here, are we? Once they get down into the red zone, Hurts is having difficulty spotting people. Turnovers. This is where most of the problems are coming with the Eagle offense. They're doing a great job from 20-20. They're second in the NFL in total yards. They're 24th in red zone scoring. What's the point of being second? They're empty calorie stats. What's the point? You're second in offense. You're 24th in scoring offense, or 24th in red zone offense. Great. Put a lot of yards up. That means shit. For Hurts' development, we should keep Lane, AJ, and Devontae out till the Cowboy game. I'm assuming after the Cleveland game. Even if we lose, Stephen, this is too good a take. It will teach him how to win without playmakers. And it will benefit him in November, December, and January. Absolutely, Stephen. Absolutely. So as I take what the defense gives me, that's not the aggressive mindset of the head coach. He doesn't take what the defense or what the opponent gives him. He overrides that. Isn't it funny, Kyle? Isn't it funny? The head coach and everyone tell you how great Jalen Hurts was in training camp by, doing what the defense was giving him and playing to that. And yet the coaches on the Eagles don't apply the same philosophy. They're over aggressive no matter what the situation is and no matter what the analytics say or what the analytics do say. These guys don't have a gut feeling for it. I'm going to tell you one more problem that you have with the Eagles and how they do their offensive play calling. Nothing has changed. It's smarter guys in the room. That's it. You have too many voices. Stoutland, wide receiver coach, Nick, Kellen, Nussmeier, Hurts. One guy's got to make a call here. I mean, I'll tell you guys a little bit of personal stuff here about how we raised my kid. I don't believe that a parent, this is me, I'm not saying you should raise your kid this way. I don't believe a parent should have two parents telling their kid two different things and how to get to a finish line. I think there should be one voice in the kid's ear so that they'll have clarity in how to get to the finish line. Both of you can go back later on and go, hey, don't you think she should have did it this way? Decision on that, on how you're going to go about teaching her the next time she tries to get to the finish line. I don't think the kid should come to you and go, I want you to run it this way in a zigzag. Yeah, I want you to serpentine this way and get to that. Then you got two different guys telling you how to get to the finish line, and that's kind of what you have here when it comes with your play calling. They're all trying to get to the end zone, but they have different philosophies on how to get to the end zone. You're not on the same page. No coordinator's the same. Brian Johnson's not the same as Kellen Moore or Shane Steichen. These guys are like leaves on a tree. Okay? They're all different. You can have the same fucking playbook in your hand and call a completely different ball game because how you see, how you apply the analytics, how you have a feel for the game. This is all about personalities. Being an offensive and defensive coordinator is a personality thing. Man, you could draw plays up all you want. Who's the hot hand? Jalen Carter. Run a T-stunt. That's what Vic did. Nobody was telling Vic to run a fucking T-stunt. Vic did it. And then Clint Hurt applied it. And they ran the T-stunts to a T, actually, and to perfection. There's clarity on that. The reason that the defense played so well last week, because there's clarity with one guy making the calls. The offense is fumbling around and struggles in the red zone. Why? Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's got an opinion. I don't care. You know when I care about your opinion? Monday and Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't care about your opinion on Sundays. Fuck that, man. Let's get to the end zone. Let's get to the fucking end zone. Do you think the analytics is wrong or Nick is not applying the analytics correctly with his play calling? Senor, yes. I think they tell him, here. Does Moore just nod and say, yes, sir? Yeah, I think he does. Or does he go against Nick's call analytics decision? No, I think he doesn't go against Nick. How could he? He's not the head coach. Nick has already told you he's the head coach. Nick makes a call. That call's going no matter what Kellen likes it or not. Kellen's not overriding the head coach. That's not his job description. When he got the job, he had to understand that this was going to be a collaborative issue. They said it. This is collaborative. I hate that. You imagine having two captains on a boat trying to get across the ocean with two guys having two completely different philosophies, or even if you talked about the route, one guy's going to want to go in rough waters, one guy's not going to want to go in rough waters. You can apply that to anything in life. Hey, I want to go to New York from Philly. Well, I'm going to take 95 up. You know what? You could take the off. You could take like the 495 and go up this way, or you can go up to Chesapeake and you could cut a little bit of. I'm going to take the 95 up because it's a sure thing. There's gas stations there, and in case there's a breakdown, my car's had some issues. Yeah, but I want to cut at least 30 minutes off. And you're like this. Well, you have a different way of getting home. Okay? Akbar, yeah, one day this has to happen too. But Jalen can override, though. He doesn't. I think he does exactly what Xander says. I think this guy knows the chain of command, and he's not going to override it because he was raised by a coach's dad. No, it's because they're not executing the plays. Other coaches are not butting in on red zone offense. Only Kellen and Sirianni sales. That's not what Nick said. Nick said in his press conference that on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Nussmeier, Stoutland, all of them have a say in the game on what they should run. Somebody will come. Dude, all you got to do is go back and listen to it. Prince, tell him. He said it. I'm not saying they run that play. I'm saying everyone's got an opinion on what play to run. And then Kellen goes with it. We should run this. All right. That's not a game plan. Your game plan is formulated on Tuesday? What about Sunday when you have to make in-game adjustments? I think they're horrible at in-game adjustments, by the way. They're horrible. I agree with Steve's take with Hurts' development, but I'd like to add maybe it'll help the coach too, because it depends on his playmakers. Hence his fourth down situational calls take the points. Absolutely, Jerron. Absolutely. Forget the analytics. What did Lombardi or Hank Stram use? Analytics did not exist. John Madden, Bill Walsh. Yeah, but that's not necessarily true. Here, I'll show you what a normal playbook. I mean, you know what? I should find one because I got an old game plan. Okay. 1st and 10. They like to run this 28% of the time. 2nd and 7. They like to run this. 3rd and 4. They like to run the dive 30%. I'm just going to give you just a little bit here. You'll get a sheet at the beginning and they'll go over a brief little synopsis. Then what they'll do is they'll start giving you the numbers. This is even in my time. 1st and 10, they like to run the dive play 28% of the time. That means they like to run in between the guards and center. 2nd and 7, they like to run screens. Be prepared for screens and play action. 3rd and 4, high percentage play. Why? Short yardage. Anything under 5 yards, got to be prepared. They're going to go back to inside runs. That's kind of like a game plan for the Ravens. Then obviously you do this. 3rd and 8, what do? Do you know 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9? You've got a 14% chance of executing 3rd and 8 and 9 if you're an offense. 3rd and 2, you got a 33% chance of success. Closer, obviously, to 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3 and 4. You have a higher success rate than you do 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. And those create high percentage turnover opportunities. That's why a year ago, the Eagles were getting in trouble late in the season because they were 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. And when you're 3rd and 8 and 9, you're throwing high percentage turnover opportunities. When Hurts is running the ball and they're running like they're running right now, and what's been a real cool thing on owning time of possession? It's been Barkley having you between 3rd and medium, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. You're winning 1st and 2nd down again. Last year, you didn't win 1st and 2nd down. Okay? I mean, there is percentages to this. And they that's called applied analytics. You don't sit there and fucking go like this. Well, I'm going to run a dive play on 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8. Now, you could say, we're trying to catch them off guard. And you're coming out of your trends when you do that. Okay? That happens. People will come off their trends to do shit like that. So when you're a player, I know, you know what's funny? Most of the people that, watch these football players, these guys are constantly thinking you're talking to each other. They like to run a dive play here. They like to run the counter tray. They like to slip and scoop here. They want to run the stretch play here. And you're constantly looking at where you are in the field. 3rd and 6. That's kind of like no man's land a little bit. 3rd and 6. Okay, they could run a screen. They could run a draw. Most likely it's going to be a high percentage pass. Here, let me tell you, I could do this easily. By the way, please hit the like button, guys. I could do this easily with Brady. Watch this. I'll close my eyes. Brady, 1st down run. 3rd and 7. Brady, intermediate slot pass to Edelman. Third and 5. Brady across the middle to Gronk. First down. He'll do the same shit over and over again. Check down, check down, check down. Brady didn't throw deep passes. Not at any time in his career was he a deep ball thrower that won Super Bowls. And never. His greatest year passing, he didn't win a Super Bowl. Check downs, high percentage plays. That's why I completely disagree with John McMullen. If Barkley catches the ball, fuck that. I don't want Barkley catching the ball. I'm going to run a play that kills the clock, puts me in a position, kick the fucking field goal anyway. But you know what you do in that process? If the player makes the mistake, you still burn the clock, didn't you? Everybody in Philly's like, well, Barkley only catch. Okay, say he doesn't. Well, you lose killing the clock and you lose the game. That's what you did on that play. Well, Barkley fucked it up. No, I'm going to take that out of the player's hands, especially with the player that's had the most drops as running back since he's been drafted. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Our red zone percentages would probably be better if they ran the ball when they got there. That's right, Jerron. Take the high percentage. Hey, get this. What's a higher percentage chance of you winning a ball game? Throwing the ball to Barkley on 3rd and 3 or whatever it was to go in for the score, or killing the clock, running the ball, lining up for 4th down because the Falcons couldn't stop the clock, burn another 15 seconds or 20 seconds. You could have stopped it at 24 seconds. You could have burned another 24 seconds off the clock. You could have burned the 25, then another 24, call timeout, kick the field goal, and they'd be under a minute. I mean, use your brains. Player has to make the play. No shit. Players don't make plays all the time. Players fumble. Players drop passes. Players fumble in Super Bowls. It happens. I'm trying to alleviate that. I do that in drafting. That's how I evaluate drafting. What gives me a better percentage of chance of success with a player? Better coaching, better conference, better opponents. That's why Q is an outlier. Q is the only non-Power 5 guy drafted in the first round this past year. Okay? That was a risky pick. It looks like the risk is playing out and panning out. All this stuff, like in this Buck game. Here, let's finish this up. 2 DTs. Cody Mauch, Bram Barton, the rookie, Ben Breedson. The 2 DTs should fucking own this game. I don't want to hear any excuses that the 2 defensive tackles, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, did not dominate this football game in the middle. These guys are worse than the Saints. No excuses. And if you don't put 2 games together like that, here we go again. We're going to go on a seesaw ride all year? That's not good football. That means I can't count on you week in and week out. You start stringing these things together, then you start to go like this. They're formidable. They're formidable. Dude, that guy that plays in New York, that Dexter Lawrence dude, is fucking amazing. That dude can play. Holy shit, is he good. Man, he's a man. You cannot block him. That BB guy, hey, dude, that guy had his lunch handed to him. That guy is a walrus in the middle. One of them big old seals you see out there in the ocean, flopping away, man. You ain't moving that dude. You need a tractor trailer to get that guy out of the way. This guy's one of them big old seals sitting there in Carmel on the rocks. You got to move that guy? You ain't moving that guy. That's a big guy, man, and he can move. He can move. That's what I want to see out of this game here with these 2 guys. There's no reason for Jordan Davis not to be a better player. Here, look at his production, too. Here, this is sorry. Here's Jordan Davis's first 3 weeks. 52% of the snaps, 0 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 pressures. What? 13th pick? You're fired. Week 2, 48%. 2 tackles, no sacks, no pressures. Week 3, 52% of the snaps, 4 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 hit on the quarterback. Okay? Now we're talking. But look at what I'm saying here. So for 3 weeks, you played below average for 2 of them, and you had an outstanding game 3. I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? They from last year's Bucs game should have them hot. Absolutely, they quit. I mean, they quit. They absolutely quit. Barkley versus the Bucs linebackers is going to be interesting. Lavonte David can play. I don't know who this guy Dennis is. Okay? KJ Britt he's been beat out. And Devin White is not even, I think, going to even make the trip. What does that tell you? They don't even want Devin White on the airplane with them going to Tampa. Seals, I know they're different players and one is destined for the Hall of Fame, but why can't Jurgens execute the tush push? Only needing to gain 8 yards per series, knowing you had 2 in the bank was huge. Absolutely. You started every series, Bob. When you had when you had Jalen or when you had Jason Kelce, you started every single series out 1st and 9. Think about that. 1st and 9 every series. Let's not forget something too, Bob. It wasn't Hurts that was the reason of the tush push. He was also 26 of 28 was Carson Wentz in the tush push. So it was Kelce. I told you when Kelce went, the tush push would go. You know, I mean, you could see they're not at all effective on that like they've been in the past. They're just not effective in it. And they know that. And that's why they're doing gimmick plays off of it now. They know they're not as good. That play is not – get this. Coordinators are now starting to see they can't run that play. So as it goes on further and further and they see the less and the trends that they're not getting success with it, they're not going to prepare for it defensively. And they know that the Eagles are going to stop running it soon. Or, get this, lining up in it. Because personally, I'm to a point now, if I'm a coordinator and they line up in that tush push, I think it's 50-50 that they run it, let alone get it. And pretty soon, it's going to be more 30-70. They're not going to run it because they're not being successful at it. So, Abe goes like this. Sills, Bond and Dean is ranked 7th and 24th ranked in linebackers, and David is 22nd. Abe. Lavonte David is a great linebacker. First 3 weeks of the season, you think Joe Burrow sucks being 0-3? Let's hang in there a bit. See how the whole season plays out. Lavonte David is the leader of that football team on defense. Be proud to have a guy like that on your defense. Super Bowl champion, captain of a team. Todd Bowles screams about him. I'd hang in there about him. He's a good football player. Barkley against those linebackers. How much passing is going to go on in this game as well is going to be an issue too. Yeah, those matchups, man, are going to be an issue. But like I said, Jordan Davis, you guys want to do this. Oh, my God, he's back. Well, week 1 and 2, he was average, below average. He had a good Saints game. Great. Hey, thanks for showing me what you can be. That sucks a big one. Thought they converted all tush pushes versus the Falcons. No, they got out of it and ran that 4th and 1, and it got stopped because they tried to run a stretch play on it. Let's go. And by the way, I didn't listen to Birds 365 this morning because, God forbid, man, I guarantee you, man, Hurts is 5 touchdowns, 478. John was probably the same. 39-1 is the score on Sunday. Hey, if you want to feel good about your Birds, man, 365 is your show, man. By the way, don't forget our pre- and post-game show that we do, too. The legendary JAKIB pre- and post-game. That'll be on Sunday prior to the Bucs game. Also, post. You guys have been sensational. Without further ado, I love the title of Big Z, the co-host of Birds 365. It is my friend Xander Krause.
What up, Big Sills? Happy Football Friday, brother.
Hey, now I know he doesn't want to hear my negativity and my bullshit, so he turns my mic off so that he can come in here all primed and ready to roll to give all you guys what you want to hear, because all he hears is Big Sills saying this and that and this and this. What if this? See that, man? He's got your back. Me, on the other hand, I see things. I'm more of a pacifist here. I'm not emotional like Xander is over here. I'm more. All right, brother. What are you doing, man? Hey, how do you see this thing playing out on Sunday?
It's going to be tough with the guys that we have missing, but I think we're in a good spot. I mean, you're coming into this game, you got a bunch of injuries. You're at worst 2-2 going into the bye week. Obviously, we have obviously, you want to win every game you play. I said that to John. He's like, dude, there's only 17 games. You got to try and win every one. But my point is, the team has bigger fish to fry right now than beating the Bucs, and that's getting your team healthy, and that's getting out of this bye week with a chance to go into the back half of the year, to put yourself at the first seed and to get deep into the playoffs. So, I don't really want to see Lane Johnson play right now. I don't think Devontae Smith's going to play. A.J. Brown was out there at practice a little bit earlier today, so, we'll see about him. I don't want to say that I don't want to see him play. I don't want to have another last year. Like, I don't care to start 10-1, So if it takes you to get your guys healthy to, let them get the extra rest going into the bye week, I'm all for it. But, the Bucs don't scare me. By the way, their injury list is longer than ours right now. It looks like Vita Vea was going to play, but I don't know about Kalaji Kancey. Looks like Antoine Winfield's going to be out. He's one of their best players on defense. So, they're pretty banged up too, coming into this game.
Can I give you the difference though? So when the Bucs have an injury,
Jalen Hurts.
Hold on, no. Listen, when the Bucs have an injury on an A player, a B player, they probably have a C player that's going to take his role. When the Eagles lose an A player like Brown, you're rolling in on me a Johnny Wilson. That's a massive fall off from
it's the only part
player.
Of the team you can say that about our backups.
Wait, okay. Devontae Smith, then you're going to tell Devontae Smith. Now you have Jahan Dotson, the greatest move in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, giving up a 3rd-round pick. I mean, I'll tell you where that doesn't apply, though, Xander. That doesn't apply on your offensive line. I don't care what you bring in.
You picked receiver. I mean, shit, you can pick on the receivers, but we got plenty of depth at the other positions on the team. And most teams don't have depth, Big Sills. You don't just lose 2 wide receivers and be in good shape. I mean, I don't care what story you want to sell me, but that's just a fact. You lose your top 2 guys at wide out. Most teams aren't going to be. Let me ask you this. If the Bucs lost Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who they rolling out?
Absolutely. No question.
All right.
Well, wait a minute. Well, I'll tell you, who they're rolling out? They're rolling out Paris Campbell and Johnny Wilson.
Exactly.
Well, the Bucs aren't.
I think Johnny Wilson's about to have a day.
Oh my God,
Johnny Mack says I put the over under for Ed Kratz. I put the over under on Wilson yards at 55. And Johnny Mack says, I love your optimism. I'm like, 55? Somebody's got to get yards out there. 55 yards from Johnny Wilson. I think we can get it.
All right. Keys of the game. Let's roll this here. You tell me who you think has the advantage.
Oh, God.
Kellen Moore versus Todd Bowles.
That's a Todd Bowles. That's Todd Bowles for sure. Todd Bowles is a great defensive mind in this league. They don't even really have a defensive coordinator. They have a couple. Yeah, it's him. He's the head coach and DC. So I'm giving the advantage to Todd, especially when you're considering coming up against the Eagles. He's been probably the best coordinator against Jalen so far in his young career. Yep, 3-1 versus him, and the 3 losses were pretty ugly for Jalen. So I'm giving the advantage to Todd in that one, especially with no offensive play.
Go to the next one. Q versus Mike Evans.
So what you got to go to? What about the other coordinator?
I'm gonna go here. This is only number 2. Q versus Mike Evans.
He wants to go right to all the ones, and it's an obvious Buccaneer check.
Q.
How about Vic Fangio versus what's his name, Liam Cohen or something?
I hadn't thought about that. Hey, Q versus Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, come on, Sills.
But can he slow him down?
Well,
because it's a rain game.
But Mike Evans,
how many passes?
Mike Evans is a mismatch
for everyone. But here, Xander, it's a rain game. It's a rain game. How many passes do you think are possibly going to be in the air? 25? Dude, you could stop. You could slow him down. Okay? I want him to slow him down.
You can slow him down. I mean, but
I think he can.
He can slow him. Yeah. I mean, that's a different question than does he have the advantage? No, nobody. You could tell me Darius Slay versus Mike Evans. I'm giving it to Mike. Mike is 6'5". He's a freak. Sills, he's never had less than 1,000 yards in his career.
Insane.
That's insane. That's incredible.
Insane.
Yeah. So give me
check,
Mike.
Check Bucks. Here we go. Huff versus Luke Goedeke.
Goedeke, he's back. It looks like he's going to play. He was injured.
Who's Luke Goedeke?
He's pretty good.
Okay.
He's their starter, so he's back. He was injured, so he's back now. Goedeke for sure. He's pretty good actually.
Check Bucks. Avonte Maddox versus Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin. So that's not a fair comparison. What about Slay? What about Slay?
I'm getting there. Jahan Dotson versus Jamel Dean. Check Bucks. Nick Sirianni
make it
versus
stop.
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles.
Check Bucks. Now, this is going to be here where I need to see these dudes do it. The 2 DTs, Carter and Davis, versus Cody Mock, Ben Dietzen or something, and Graham Barton. Those dudes got to kill that, man. They got to own that because I don't think that group is good.
It's amazing how you give me all the rundown of all the checks on the Bucs side, and you conveniently leave out all the checks on the Eagles side.
What? Okay, then you're going to tell me where you have the here. I know where they have the advantage. They have the advantage of quarterback.
Eagles do.
Yeah.
Advantage there. What about advantage running back?
Let me get here. Barkley versus Devontae David and the Buck linebackers.
Levante David's good, man. Yeah, he's good. But I still like Saquon Barkley. You're playing like that right now. He's a top running back in the league. I mean, David's a great player, but you're not going to hang with Saquon Barkley. So get him in space, and he's going to be a weapon in this game. So definitely advantage Eagles there. And back to your point on the D-line, definitely advantage Eagles there, too. I mean, if Jalen Carter plays anything like he did last week, they have no chance at blocking him.
And Brandon Graham,
too.
I mean, right?
Hey, Quiz, can you tell this dude? Bucks ain't scaring nobody. Sills got that Buccaneers banner on his wall. I think it jaded the color of his glasses coming into the show today.
No, wait, no. Well, you don't have your same Buck team. You don't have your same Eagle team rolling into this game. You make it sound like you're rolling in the starting lineup from game 1 against the Packers. You're not. You're rolling in some practice squad dogs.
It's true.
You got a practice squad wide receiving core going into this game. That's what you have. And you got a defense that showed up 1 week. I mean, I want to see them put it together here.
You're right. You're right. You're right. I'm setting myself up to not have an overreaction to this game because you don't have Lane, you don't have Devontae, you don't have AJ. You're in trouble.
Lose.
Huh?
Don't lose. Woo!
If they lose,
I'm with you, though. I'm with you. It depends how they lose. If they get rolled off the field, that's an issue. If they don't, with all the bodies out,
Eagles aren't losing.
Eagles aren't losing.
Jalen Hurts currently on pace for 4,400 passing yards
and 30 interceptions.
Is that what he's on pace for? Interception?
34 actually interceptions.
No, he's not. He's got 3 picks.
No, I forgot 34 turnovers. Right.
34 turnovers. He got 3 picks. He's on pace for 20.
Man, what a stat line. 4,400 yards and 34 turnovers. Holy shit, man. Let me sign up for that thing. No, hey, by the way, real quick, just to deviate off something. And I said this about Dak in the open. You know, man, Dak Prescott is like A class on an airplane, and you know full well he's not first class. You know, he's good. It's good seating. He's just not a first class ticket. You know that it's not going anywhere, and you pay $60 million for it, and you're like this.
Dak's a solid quarterback, though.
Yeah.
But he's
overpaid.
I don't know. You know, here's the one thing I struggle with because I love to hate on Dak, and I'm happy that he loses in the playoffs. When you listen to like Aaron Rodgers talk about Dak and Tom Brady talk about Dak,
they love him.
They love him. They praise him. They're like, he's one of my favorite players to watch right now. Plays the game the right way. Great quarterback. And I'm like, well, if Aaron Rodgers is telling me a great quarterback, doesn't he know a little bit more than I do about being a great quarterback? So, you know, Dak is good. I wonder how much his team around him affects him. And I think he was the least of their issues last night.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you're limping along against the Giants, you know, and you're like, hey, by the way,
you're right. They stink
at the end.
They stink. I thought they were going to be better. Normally, they win 12 games in the regular season and then collapse in the postseason. They look like they're going to be a little worse in the regular season this year. So that was an ugly game last night.
Who said that those guys be lucky to win 5 ball games this year?
Big Sills. Give it up for Big Sills, everybody.
Yeah, hey, just like Kamala. I don't give a shit about Jahan Dotson. How you say his name? I don't care. It's like Kamala. I don't care, man. Okay? I don't really care. I have no caring about that.
Jahan Dotson's not going to do shit, everybody. I hate to break it to you, but if we got to rely on him, it's not going to be good.
Oh, my
God. Dude,
God.
Even on the Eagles unscripted Sills, if you watch their 10-minute unscripted last week, I don't know if their new one came out, but I'm watching it, and they're like, Jahan Dotson, who's still working to learn the playbook and get involved in the offense. I'm like, so the team is telling you he's not even ready to make an impact. He's not in a good position. Also, he hasn't looked so great, has he either? Out there?
No.
I mean, you can tell why the Buccaneers the Commanders guys were saying, you know, he's very, what did they say? Weak at the point of attack and all those things. Right, you can see it when he's out there.
Yeah, I'm watching that Cowboy game last night. They play with so much pressure on them. And it's not even pressure like to win games. It's pressure not to look bad to the media so they don't talk shit on them.
Wait, so are you picking the Bucs in this game?
Let me get there. See, here you go.
Jeff brings up a good point. Hey, Sills is 0-3 on the season.
Am I?
You're 0-3, Sills.
Okay. All right.
You're 0-3. If you take my
I won't be wrong by the end of the year, 9 wins.
Last week I picked the Saints to win on this show. But on our pregame show, which is the last moment of picking, which I'll take that to the bank, I picked the Eagles. So I'm 3-0.
All right. Congratulations to you. You got the 24th ranked red zone offense and the 4th ranked red zone defense. Keep it up, man. You guys are, hey, get this. You're second in offense and you blow out loud in the red zone. Ooh, okay. You know why? It's your quarterback. Red zone turnovers are going to kill you every time. That's where it's turning the ball over the most, too. Critical situations and your buffoon head coach. Holy
The more
cow.
you push back on Sills, the harder he cuts deep. He just wants all right, your quarterback sucks.
I did say he sucked. I said he's turning up. He sucks right now.
He needs to cut deep when you tell him he's 0-3. So keep telling him he's 0-3, everybody.
I didn't look at it that way, but maybe. All right. Do you go with here's what I did, and I'll tell you my pick. I said this: do you go with the home team where the coordinator has owned Jalen Hurts and a quarterback that struggles when it comes to red zone offense, especially with a guy that's brilliant in blitzing? Or do you go with the better quarterback? Last year they didn't have Barkley. I've been wrong about him. I got to tell you, dude, Saquon Barkley has been more than advertised.
Yeah, he's been incredible
more
so
than
far this year. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I mean, you gave him a top 5 offensive line, and he came from a bottom 5 offensive line. So,
So why wouldn't that apply for Daniel Jones then? If Daniel Jones, I mean, if that worked for Saquon Barkley, that he didn't play with top 5 talent anywhere on that offense and shitty talent, wouldn't that apply if, say, Daniel Jones was in Pittsburgh? Wouldn't they still be 3-0 with Daniel Jones as a quarterback? Daniel Jones, I thought he played pretty decent last night.
Yeah, but I never criticized Daniel Jones.
No. But what I'm saying is, I mean, everyone,
the Giants and Daniel Jones till 2036.
But here, I after watching last night's game, I agree with Mike Florio here. Getting rid of Saquon Barkley, if you are the Giants, is an absolute atrocious thing. You paid a guy $46 million and you're taking talent away that would help him win games.
Yeah, but don't you also
Barkley last night? If you had Barkley last night, do the Giants beat the Cowboys?
They have a lot better chance, no doubt. But don't you agree from a roster building standpoint, New York is not in the same building as we are. So when we signed Saquon as the last piece, it looks a lot better. We have the offensive line. We already have the receivers. We already have the quarterback. We have everything we need. New York has nothing. I mean, remember, they just drafted Malik Neighbors. They would have had to sign Saquon before getting Malik Neighbors, before, getting your offensive line. So from a roster building standpoint, I understand why New York let him go, but that doesn't mean they're probably still going to get fired because
the advantage, though, of what Jalen went through was Jalen wasn't signed here and drafted here to be the starter. Okay, you know who went through all the bumps and bruises on building the roster? It was Wentz. Wentz didn't have the talent.
Oh, no doubt.
And then they started building the talent around.
Jalen had AJ Brown.
Jalen was on a second round contract.
Yeah, I mean
that's where the silver lining is with Hurts.
Carson Wentz
benefited from Wentz laying the cement to them building a roster and a good offense, because he never had that. Okay, we're going to get to all your.
Tony Allen. This is good though.
Will Huff, the Jiggle Puff, show up on Sunday? No.
Huff the Jiggly.
No. He's a staple.
Even John McMullen has let the ship sail. I put the over under at half a sack on Birds 365, and he took the under.
Here's what I said.
John McMullen, I mean, he was telling me he's a 15 sack guy this summer. All of a sudden, that ship has sailed quick. We'll be lucky to get 5 sacks out of Bryce Huff.
That's what my bold prediction was. I said 5.
We'll be lucky. We'll be lucky to get 5 out of him with the way he's looked so far.
I said if Nick Sirianni could stay the fuck out of the way, the Eagles win 27-20. I think it's going to be a close game, man.
So you got the Eagles winning.
Close game.
You got the Eagles winning, though.
27-20.
No, you have the Eagles winning, correct?
Yeah, 27-20. I'm taking the better quarterback.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I like it. It's a good score. I picked a little bit of a lower score for the Bucs, but I put 24-14 out there. That's probably a little too low for that Bucs offense, but 24-17, somewhere in that range.
So you
I
got
like that.
10-point margin. I have a 7-point margin. Okay.
Yeah, but bottom line is I think the Eagles are going to win the game. It might be tighter than I put out there, but this Bucs team, they don't strike fear in me right now. I know they beat us in the playoffs twice. We also beat the crap out of them in the regular season last year. So, Baker Mayfield, I will give Baker Mayfield a lot of credit though, man. That guy is like a totally new character than what he was in the start of his career, totally matured. So I give him a lot of credit. He's a guy that I respect for turning his career around. Not everybody has the ability to do that or the wherewithal to do that, to be the number 1 pick in, 4 years and 4 teams and 4 years.
Talk about being humbled.
Yeah, right. He was humbled, and he got paid though, big money, man. Sometimes being humbled in this league means you make 40 instead of 56.
That's right, man. 3 years, $100 million for a guy that was cut. And by the way, I'll say it again. Who do you think?
What was his new deal too?
Who do you think the Browns would rather have a quarterback right now, Mayfield or Deshaun Watson?
What
right?
he signed his new deal? What was Baker's new
3
deal?
years, $100 million.
So 33. Yeah. So not bad.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
a bad payday, right?
Not
So,
bad for a guy who was on his fourth team.
Yeah, I give him credit. He's already 29, man. It's crazy how old these guys get so quickly. He's already 20. I feel like yesterday the guy came out of college, but not been in the league for 6 years now. So
6 years, you've been on 4 teams, and you're not 30 yet. And you were the first pick.
I know.
Which is
First
insane,
overall pick.
man. That shows you the changing of the guard here a little bit. All right. So what do you make of Reddick wanting to come back and play in Philly?
He doesn't want to come back and play in Philly. He wants to get a contract wherever somebody will take it. Wherever somebody will get it.
Dude, he's burned $9.8 million of his salary this
and
year.
He's not getting that back.
No,
I don't know what.
When you miss that, you have to pay that.
Is it on him or his agent or what?
I think it's on the player at the end of the day, because don't you look over at your wife, your girlfriend, or your significant other and you go like this, hey, man, we've burned $10 million. We'll never get back. I mean, say he comes back this year and goes, look, if he goes to work for the Jets, so what? You're only going to pay for $4.5 million.
Is that how many fines he's racked up? Almost $10 million?
$9.8 million in fines.
Dude, that's insane. Is that real? Is that really what it's gotten to now? Yeah. You're now just at a point where you're being blatantly stupid with your mind. I mean, shit. I just don't understand that as a 30-year-old dude. I mean, well, shit, I wish I could light 10 mil on fire. Don't you?
No. You know what he basically did? Who was that running back that was with the Steelers, Yale, that did that and just who was that run? That running back with the Steelers Le'Veon Bell. He put $17 million in a trash can and lit it on fire.
Yeah, and then he made a big ass contract and then didn't play it out at all. He actually was one of the dudes that got that maybe made up some of the money. I mean, nobody expected him to get that. I think he got a $50 million contract with the Jets, and then he only played 1 year there. Yeah, so. And then the other dude who did that, didn't Gurley do that? Didn't Todd Gurley sit out for a little bit and he got a big contract and then he collapsed?
Todd Gurley got paid by the Rams. Then he fell off the map. And then what happened was they changed the entire structure of how you can defer money with the new CBA so that teams didn't have that around their neck. Then he signed a contract with Atlanta. And do you want to hear something crazy? Do you know that the Rams to this day are still paying deferred payments to Todd Gurley and Clay Matthews Jr. for those bullshit contracts?
I got an injury update on the game.
Great. Let's hear it.
Devontae Smith out. He's officially been ruled out. And then A.J. Brown and Lane were both limited participants listed as questionable for the game. Mekhi Becton's a full go. Landon Dickerson's a full go. Darius Slay is a full go. And Milton Williams is a full go.
That's good news to a point, but A.J.'s not playing.
I don't think so
either. You know what they did? They rolled AJ out there for limited practice so that they could put that out there as a smokescreen.
Yeah.
And maybe even Lane. That's what because when you do that.
I don't think Lane will play either.
No.
But now we're not going to know till game day on those two.
Yeah, now you won't. That's right. Now you won't know. What do you think? What is your biggest concern going into this game?
The injuries. I mean, you're coming into the game, you got no offensive weapons to throw the ball to. How many passing yards is Jalen going to have? I mean, Todd Bowles is smart. Is he going to take out Dallas Goedert, take Dallas Goedert out of the game? And who's Jalen throwing the football to? I mean, everybody's relying on Saquon. Saquon doesn't really run much in the passing game. Now, maybe he will with these type of dudes out, but that's got to be the biggest concern coming into the game. You know, the other concern is, you remember last week, John, on our pregame show last week, he said, I'm worried with how good the Saints have played because they're not this good. So they're going to come back. And that was basically built into his projection that the Eagles would win that game. It's almost the opposite for us this week. The Bucs played so bad last week.
And their numbers are just not great.
They're not that bad, though. They're not that bad.
But they got a great win. In Detroit, they went up there and they got a good
maybe they bounced back a little bit. Right. Maybe they bounced back a little bit. So that's going against us. But at the end of the day, I think the Eagles are going to win this game. It's going to be ugly because you're not going to be, throwing the ball to Devontae. Obviously, he's been ruled out. Or AJ, who I don't think AJ Brown's going to play. So we'll see. But it's going to be an ugly one for sure. Even if they do win, it's going to be ugly. Jalen's
Give me
good. This is going to be one of those weeks that Jalen should run, and we're not going to be mad at him for it. Just don't get hurt.
All right. What does this stat line look like, Hurts, in this game? Here, wait. Let me write. Here's my stat line for Hurts.
15 of 25, 185 passing yards, and a touchdown. And then I'll take 10 carries for 50 to 55 yards.
Okay. Here's mine. Hurts is 19 of 30 for 180 yards.
All right,
2 interceptions. Wait, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks.
3 picks. Now it's 3. It's a 2 or 3.
It's 3 picks.
3 picks. Come
115 yards rushing and 1 touchdown.
That's atrocious. If
he
does that, it's going to be a long
It's 295 yards of total offense.
If he does that, it's going to be a long bye week, everybody.
Hey.
It's going to be a long bye.
Hey, 19 of 30 for 180 yards passing in the rain, 2 TDs and 3 picks. I think there's going to be a ton of turnovers in this game. I think it's going to be a lot of turnovers because of the weather.
Dez puts up 10 and 80 rushing. Dez, where are you getting those passing yards, though? Like,
that's the Jew. Where are you getting this from?
I mean, listen, if Goddard gets 100 yards,
never happened.
What do you mean? He got 170 last week.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, how long was it in between the last 100 yard? Let me think. It was a fortnight. I mean, what are we doing here, man? You're making it sound like Goddard's going to put up.
Look at M. Reyes. I love M. Reyes. He says
365, 27 to 32, 3 touchdowns,
and a rushing
1 rushing touchdown to give you one of the greatest performances in the history of the fucking National Football League, man. Holy shit. That is incredible.
M. Reyes is on fire.
He always comes up with those shit he takes. No way, man. Let's read some of them super chats, Xander.
Lucius,
hold
that'd
on,
be pretty
Lucius.
good, brother.
Still, Xander, what do you think of Hurts if he goes 20 of 26, 251, and 2 TDs, no picks? That'd be a great day, and they win big. They would win big because I'm going to assume then Barkley goes for 112. Hey, by the way, you guys are going to break Xander here with these jerseys because I think the kid's going to have another big game.
No, it's not. It's. I'm excited to do it, honestly, because one, the viewers have been tremendous in support this season so far, and I love giving back to them, honestly. So speaking of it, though, I do want to thank Lucius and Terry Hayes, our 2 legend members. So thank you guys for being a legend member on the channel. That's just our top tier of membership on JAKIB Sports. And then a big shout out to our couple other new members today that joined. D. Hughes and Alex S. become a member. So thank you. And Demaria and Sue. Look at that. They still Sue. Sue's a great listener here on JAKIB. So Sue became a member. Yeah, Sue's great. She just gives you the laughing emojis all day. So Sue, shout out to you. Appreciate it.
I do, man. I love Sue. Someone put up there, I think it was Senor. What's the danger of putting AJ out there? You mean as a decoy or as a primary target? Because if you want to put him out as a decoy, I don't think that's a horrible idea if he can do it. But I'm not going to stress him in this game because Xander made a great point yesterday. Hey, man, I'm looking to win in December and in January. I'm not looking to win a game here at the end of September here that's going to cost my guy to miss another 4 weeks. Then we're talking about getting into the heart of the schedule where you have to start winning some of these division and conference games, and especially some of these tougher games coming up. I'm not sacrificing Lane Johnson's health, Devontae Smith, or AJ's health for a 4-quarter game against the Bucs in September. It's just not. It doesn't make sense.
I agree. Abe says, Xander, could you ask if Becton playing at right guard or right tackle? He's going to be back at right guard, Abe. They're going to keep him at right guard and probably keep Fred Johnson in there tackle. It's a good question, though, because Steen played so well. You know, do they think about putting him at the guard and moving Becton out to the tackle? But I don't know if they want that much. I don't know if they. He's
playing with a cast.
Yeah, and if you think about it, that means you're changing 2 positions on the O-line versus just changing 1. If you move him to the tackle, expecting that tackle's a switch, and
Put
then
Fred out
seeing
there.
that guard's
Did
a
a great
switch.
job.
Yeah, I thought Fred was good, so I'd keep Fred in there.
Yeah, keep Fred out there. What's your
NJ,
concerns with
shout out to
Syria?
you, brother. Big shout out to NJ. He became a member,
You know,
but NJ, he didn't become a member. Well, he did become a member, but he was gifted a membership this morning. Big shout out to James Carver, who gifted 50 of them this morning on Birds 365.
You know, I got to say something about New Jersey Maniac, though. I mean, I'm so disappointed in you. You know, you used to really come in with great takes. Now you're talking about fishing and doing all kinds of other bullshit and some other things. You come in like,
I watch
you know,
his channel. I tune in on
takes complete advantage of me and my good nature and everything. Now, I thought we were boys, man. I mean, I don't know. I feel, you know what I'm saying here?
NJ, I've been tuning in, brother.
Maniac's one of the original guys, too. And I feel like, I'm being taken advantage of here a little bit. But it's all right, man. People like to take advantage of Big Sills. It's okay. What about your concerns about Sirianni here going into this bitch?
Sirianni is, yeah.
Hey, dude, you got it. 4th and 1 in the rain. I don't care. Kick it. Kick it.
I know.
Kick it.
Okay, please, somebody get that message to Nick Sirianni. Nick,
I want Big Tom to tackle him.
I know, man. It's so simple, right? But sometimes the simplest ones are the ones that Nick just, 14 seconds on the clock. Oh, I'm going to go for it here. It's like my toddler would make a toddler would make a better decision than that. I don't understand some of these decisions he's made. So hopefully he gets better this week. But look, there's got to be real concern. I think, when you have a roster this talented, you need a good coach. Coaching is a big part of the equation when you want to go deep in playoffs, and that's going to be a big thing. So Nick's got to get his act together and get it together quick. I'd be curious to see, I'm going to put a chat up or a poll up in the chat. Please, everybody vote on the poll. I'm going to put a poll up. What do people think of Nick? Do people like Nick as the head coach? Trust Nick Sirianni as the head coach? I'd be curious to see what everybody says.
All right. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to text message Joe Redner, the president and owner of Mons Venus. And if Nick Sirianni calls a good game, I'm going to get him a lifetime membership to the best titty bar on Dale Mabry and it's going to be an isolated champagne room night for Nick Sirianni and all of his coaches if he just gets the fuck out of the way. Joe Redner's getting a text message, my dear friend who owns Mons Venus, and I'm going to have him put a sign out front. Nick, if you don't mess the game up, you get a free seat here at Mons Venus. There you go. That's the kind of guy I am. Okay, just to give everybody a heads up, Danner, you may not have heard this, but they give you an idea what Tampa is. There are more titty bars in Tampa than there are churches, middle schools, and high schools. And in the outskirts of Tampa and Clearwater, St. Pete. How you doing? Even in the rain. Even in the rain, homeboy. Let's get to those super chats.
Do we have some?
Oh, yeah, we got a bunch of them, man. We didn't get them. You're right, Sills. Todd Bowles is Jalen Hurts' is puppy. But the fries in the bag, Jalen.
Big Sills says Poppy.
Puppy.
We already hit that. It will huff the Jigglypuff show up. Love to hear Big Cell say Jahan
Dotson.
Here we go. Here's one.
Big Sills. Any chance Howie trades for a big name edge rusher before the deadline? His Sweat's knees are gone. We're going to be in rough shape next year at edge. You're going to be in rough shape anyway. You're going to have to go and find yourself an edge rusher to replace
who's out there? Who are you going to trade for? That's the problem. Who's out there?
Cincinnati.
Is he available though?
Everybody on that roster except Joe Burrow is available.
Yeah, and he might even be available if he keeps losing.
Always remember, there's a zipper on Mike Brown's wallet.
Yeah.
He don't have a normal wallet, man. That guy is only going to pay one. Dude, he hasn't even paid Jamar Chase.
He's not going to. I don't think he's going to pay Jamar Chase.
So you're going to let Higgins and Jamar go?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Joe Burrow's got to win, though. If Joe Burrow can't win with him, you think he's going to sign him?
No, he's already signed him. He's making $55 million a year.
I'm saying if Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase out there and they're not winning, they're 0-3. You think he's going to roll out the red carpet to bring Jamar Chase back. They're not even winning games.
Let me ask you one last question. So if the Bucs lose and they fall to 2-2,
3-1 going into the bye week, Eagle fans.
hey. How do you feel about
What did Sileo say? We'll be 1-3. 3-1.
Hey, say you're 2-2 going into the bye. How do you feel about that?
2-2, I feel fine. Get healthy. Get healthy. That's the first priority. If you can be 14-3, if you don't have Lane Johnson, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith going into the playoffs, you're out. You're out. You're done. So that's where my head is right now. I look, I want to win the game, so I don't want people.
You see how smart he's becoming? The football team's not a 2-2 team. But if you are 2-2, it's because of circumstances around you with the war of attrition. Absolutely true. Dude, you really think when you look at it, do you really think that when you look at the Bengals, that they're an 0-3 team? Of course they're not. Holy cow. Look at this guy, man.
Look at NJ.
Hey.
I've been watching NJ's channel.
Hey, wait a minute.
NJ is the only guy as entertaining as Big Sills in this chat is NJ.
Hold on for a second. If I guilt tripped you into this, I now I feel dirty. Okay, love you both.
I think he did it out of the kindness of his heart. I think I think he appreciates the channel and the content and showing him love, and I think he did it out of the kind.
Stop NJ, kissing up the ass here with this. We know.
NJ, appreciate the support, brother. Thank you, man.
Holy cow, man! This guy had me giving love out to Prince yesterday too. Sills, got it, and I'm like, ugh. I did it with a vomit.
Showing out. JAKIB Nation makes it possible, baby. So I love JAKIB Nation. I show out for JAKIB Nation.
NJ Fishing Maniac. One day we are going to make that official fishing trip for all of us. That'd be a great gimmick.
I'm in New Jersey. I'm waiting for NJ to bring me out. He goes out fishing in Jersey all over the place. NJ, I'm in Jersey. Where's my invite?
I'd like to have that where we can get like a party boat and go out and just go fishing and drink beers. That'd be great. Guys, then again, Xander would go, I still got a ticket hanging on the fucking wall here, Sills.
Big Sills, that's a liability.
Oh, that's man. Hey, the only person that got me out of the house was Xander, man. He goes, yeah, I'm 1 for 1 at least, man. But usually
I had to drag you. It took everything in my being to get
and I was lost at the Philly airport.
Sills is walking
I'm
around
over here in the Ram truck, dude.
Sills, you're on the train track. I can't park over on the train track, my friend. Come on out to the side where there's cars, over here.
Yeah.
Big Sills navigating the city.
It's no good for me. Guys, let's be very honest.
Sills, we got 100 votes on our poll. Ready? 77% of them say they do not trust Nick Sirianni.
Damn. Get this.
Yeah.
So people don't trust him, but Jason Kelsey does. Hey, that dude needs to drink some of his beer, man. Kind of come to have a Jesus conversation. But you're right. I get it. Why he's placating to it. Because, he's an Eagle guy. I get it.
Yeah, he's gonna. Jesse, I'm right outside the city. I grew up right outside the city. So I still am home a lot at that house. But I'm in Jersey right now.
Jesse goes like this. Hey, so what does he got to be? He's got to be like down from where? South Philly for you to go, oh, he's a Philly guy. What does that mean? What are you, crazy, man?
Flex is South Philly. I got to meet up with Flex in the city. I owe Flex a sweatshirt. I want to get Flex a sweatshirt.
Make sure you invite me when Sills comes fishing. Okay. All right, Flexing. I mean, you at least have some decent takes in here. All right. So, Jason, I got it. Before I get you out of here, I got to eat some crow with Jason Cole. So, guess what he texted me?
Oh, good.
So he texted me during the game. He goes,
I love when Big Sills eats crow.
He goes, I told you that the Saints were full of shit and that the stout defense of the Eagles were going to stop them. I go, the stout, no-holes defense.
Yeah, Jason's been listening.
The Saints.
And he knows the no-holes defense is as real as it gets, baby.
So does the no-holes defense start up again this week against the Bucs?
I think the no-holes defense is alive and well coming into this game. I think they're going to have another big game. Jalen Carter might get on the board with a sack or two. I might even go as far as to say Bryce Huff might get on the board this weekend.
Man, wow, the optimism's high.
No, hey, I'm not going that. I'm not going that far. I'm not going that.
John McMullen Huff ain't getting shit.
Jalen Carter will be on the board with the sack this weekend, but I'm not giving.
What about Jordan Davis?
Yeah, but I don't care about sacks with him. That's not his job.
Oh, so you lowered his
No,
job
it's never been his job. That was not what he was drafted for.
All right. Let me.
And you know that. Come on, don't be dumb. You know that.
Do me a favor. Tell me where we are in the like list. Do me a favor. Hit the like list, guys. Got like list? I know that I get criticized for that.
Twiz.
Hit the like button. Huff 5 sacks incoming. I love Twiz, man. Twiz will blow a stat up out of anything. No doubt about it. 5 sacks. He'll have that for the year.
We're at 204. Good stuff, everybody. Appreciate it.
Hey, man, that's great. That's
Yeah.
really good. 204? Holy shit. Guys, do me a favor. Super chats have been insane. Absolutely great. You doing anything tomorrow, Xander?
I don't know if I can. I got family coming into town. I'm trying to do a live show tomorrow. If everybody would join, I would do it. But probably nothing. Probably just going to run some clips from like the shows. So I'll have some highlights of the National Football Show and Birds 365 going up. But other than that, I don't think there'll be anything live until the pregame show.
Very good. Okay, pregame show on Sunday, and then obviously the legendary postgame show. That'll also be on Sunday when me and John McMullen.
I got it. Daryl, I got it, guy. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
You play to win. Oh, man. Spoken like Newt Rockney. You play to win the game.
The Captain Obvious of the day is Daryl Hester. Thanks,
Great
Daryl.
stuff, Xander. We will catch you again on Monday, Birds 365, and also on Sunday, pregame show and postgame show. Guys, hit the like button. Thank you so much, Xander. We appreciate it, brother. We'll catch you over the weekend.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Big Sills, and thank you to all the people in the chat, especially our new members. Thank you, guys. See you, Sills.
You got it, brother. Hey, our new members, too, by the way, all kidding aside, as you know, this isn't a show for the faint of heart. So you know this, okay? It's all good, man. We have a fun time here. Please hit the like button. We'll go more into what is coming up this weekend in the NFL. My Canes play also Virginia Tech tonight. We'll do a little bit of that. Jason Cole, I got to eat some crow because he said the Eagle defense would show up, and he was right. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid
as long as you face the fear.
and keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Stills National Football Show. Do me a favor, Freakazoids. Please hit the like button. We appreciate you doing that all the time for us. Your super chats have been insane. New Jersey Fishing Maniac, you're my boy, man. You know you always will be. Please hit the like button, everybody. Thank you again. We're over 230 now. I'd love to see if we can get to 350 by the end of the program. Bottom of the hour, we will have our friend Jason Cole, our resident NFL Hall of Fame voter from Yahoo Sports. The legendary Philly Godfather will join us at 5:30 as well. I'm going to make a point to you about coaching here. Cliff Kingsbury is going to be the most sought-after coach in the offseason next to Bill Belichick. Tell me why. Tell me why. I'm talking head coach. Why do you think he's going to be – Senor goes, let me guess, Jaden Daniels. No. If Daniels plays well. Okay. Here's why. Well, the only reason that he got fired was because Kyler Murray was injured. He won 11 games versus Pete Carroll and Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan in the NFC West. Wasn't like he was a shitty coach out there. He was in a shitty organization known as the Arizona Cardinals. And Kyler Murray's playing great ball now because he's healthy. He developed Kyler Murray. He developed Patrick Mahomes. Now he's developing Jaden Daniels. If you're an NFL owner, don't you want a quarterback guru like that calling plays for you and running your football team? That's the guy you want as your head coach. Because his track record, indicates that he knows what he's doing with developing quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray. Now he's working with Jaden Daniels. Yale goes like this. He lost there at Texas Tech. I don't know about you, Yale, but Texas Tech, I don't remember them being a superpower. And with Arizona, what coaches won in Arizona? Can you name me a coach that's had a winning record in Arizona the last 35 years? Name me one. Name me one coach that's had a winning record since the team has been in Arizona. Name me one. One coach. Dennis Green, did he? You may be right. You may be right. List of Arizona head football coaches, 1-loss record. List of Arizona Cardinals, 1-loss record, head coaches. Ken Wisenhunt was a good coach. Let's see here. Here we go. We'll just take the last 5 and see what the coaches did here. And see who had a winning record. Because I think the bid will suck. Did Wisenhunt? Coaches, here we go. Okay, got it here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Kingsbury was 28-37. Bruce was 49-30. Wisenhunt was 45-51. Dennis Green was 16-32. Dave McGinnis was 17-40. Buddy Ryan was 12-20. The only coach with a winning record in Arizona was Bruce Arians. Ken Wisenhunt and them dudes. He got to a Super Bowl though, but Ken had a losing record. 45-51, but did get to a Super Bowl. Boy, and Ken Wisenhunt was 6-4 in the playoffs too. And Bruce Arians was 3-1 in the playoffs, 49-30-1, and they still fired his ass. Crazy. Okay. So the point is, in the last 20 years, only one coach has had a winning record in Arizona since they actually have been in Phoenix. That's Bruce Arians. That's not a good job. When you have had a winning coach since 2000, nobody that Jeffrey Lurie has hired has had a losing record. So in the last 25 years in Arizona, 30 years in Arizona, you've had one guy with a winning record. I'm not thinking that's a great organization, are you? Yeah, they were up and down, but Yale. So when you look at it and you go like this, well, he knew to move off of Josh Rosen when he got the job. He said, this guy's not very good. I mean, I'm not thinking Bruce Arians is one coach in 35 years that the Arizona Cardinals have had a winning coach. And he was going against Pete Carroll, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, all Super Bowl coaches. That's not horrible. That's not horrible. And he developed Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, and now he's developing Jaden Daniels. You think there's anything to that? Would you want Cliff Kingsbury around your quarterback? No, I get it. They won 11 games there. Then he got hurt. Dude, are you trying to tell me that this guy doesn't know what he's – yeah, you're trying to tell me he doesn't know what he's doing at quarterback? Kyler Murray's got a $46.1 million deal. Patrick Mahomes has won and developed – he had the number one offense in college football when he was at Texas Tech. They just didn't recruit and didn't have the money to recruit in Lubbock. I know Texas Tech. They've never been good. They've never been good. Hey, by the way, for the record, all these guys are first rounders too. Okay? So how about this? This time you turn around, you hire Mike Vrabel as your head defensive coordinator and Cliff Kingsbury as your OC. How'd you feel about that? How'd you feel about that? You hire a guy like Brian Flores as your coordinator. Brian Flores, hey, look what they got now. They got Dan Quinn, who won a Super Bowl, as defensive coordinator with Gus Bradley in Seattle. Remember, he's got a Super Bowl ring. I know you guys are talking about him being the head coach when he was down there with Kyle Shanahan in Atlanta. Well, he has a Super Bowl ring too as a DC. He won that in Seattle. Right? Akbar goes 3 games, Sills, pump the brakes. On who? Mahomes? Kyler Murray's playing back to the way he played when he was winning 11 in Arizona. He's playing great football, actually. Kyler Murray's playing great football. I mean, Kyler Murray's playing better football than Hurts is. He is. Doesn't have the turnovers. The point is that I made is that Kingsbury will be a hot candidate. They ended up drafting also getting Marvin Harrison. Sure. Jonathan Gannon's doing a nice job in Arizona, by the way. He's doing a nice job. Right? You said Kyler Murray would outplay Jalen Hurts in 22. And what happened? He outplayed him last year. I missed the year. It was 23. Because he beat him. He beat him last year. Forgot. Yeah. Think he's 1-1 against him? Yeah, well, not 22. He was 23 up. He beat him. Came back off the IR and ended up beating Hurts. Forgot that, didn't you? Of course you did. Daniel is a Heisman winner, too. I know you don't usually see those guys pan out. Heisman winners don't usually pan out in the National Football League. Okay? Yale says, I need to see more of Daniels. Absolutely. No question. Let's see. What was their record last year? Well, Kyler Murray missed almost the entire season until he got back at the end of the back end. And he ended up beating the Eagles and the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken. I think at the end of the year, they beat Seattle and the Cowboys and the Eagles with him quarterbacking. James, can somebody do me a favor? When Murray came back, I think he had Cowboys and I think he beat the Eagles and he beat someone else that were playoff teams down the stretch. Okay. Let's see here. Gannon took that game versus the Eagles personal. He did. Because of all the shit that went on. Seals Dan Quinn put in the right people at linebacker, having Luvu, the kid from UCLA, and Wagner, their second best D-line, second best linebacker crew. Hey, yeah, Dan Quinn's really good up there, man. Their linebacking core is the best core in the NFC East, for sure. Here's how it goes. The defensive line, the best D-line in the East, NFC East, is the Giants. Linebacking is the Commanders. Secondary, it's a toss-up. By the way, Jason Cole's going to join us. Giants have the best front four with Thibodeau, Lawrence, and Burns. You have nobody on your football team that plays with the production of those guys with a consistent basis. Absolutely nobody. And Thibodeau has actually picked it up. They've actually have two edge rushers. You don't. Eagles secondary is better than who? Yeah, there's not very good secondaries in the East. That sounds right. Sure. You could pick one. Shane Steichen has the best linebacking core. In with EJ, speed, Franklin, Sills. Colts have the best. Colts are underachieving a little bit right now. Hearing Devontae officially out. He is. BG brings pressure. He's played very well. Okay. In fact, the Commanders' defense got whipped the entire season. So did you. Seattle is okay down by the wall. I don't know what that means. J.J. Watt's not the best defensive end ever. He's not the best defensive end ever. That's not true. He's a great football player, but you got to remember something. When you're talking about the best ever, you're in an era. Hey, Xander, can we do me a favor and send Jason Cole another link? I don't know what happens sometimes. If we can, please just send him another one. Thank you. He doesn't have it. So we can send Jason that link. Don't forget, Philly Godfather will join us also at 5:30. So let me just text Jason here and tell him that we're sending a link here. Appreciate your patience, guys. Thank you. I know. Send again. He does that with me too. I don't know why that is. Hey, Flexin, eat a dick. Let's see here. Sills, who's the best defensive end you've ever seen? Right here. Right here. Okay, right here. Leroy Selman. That's the best defensive end I've ever seen. Maniac. I'm gonna have to eat crow for you guys here with Jason Cole here. You know that, right? Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? I got to tell you, man. So during the game, all you Eagle honks, what does Cole do? He texts me and he goes, "What I tell you? You know, it made me. Hey, wait a minute. You know what it made me feel like? I told you the Saints weren't shit." Eagles defense was going to be stout. They sucked for 2 weeks. Cole goes like this. They'll show up. Sure enough, they show up. Text, what I tell you. Saints ain't shit. Yeah. All right. Let's bring him in. You got me good here with this one. Jason Cole got me, man. I mean, they played like horse shit 2 weeks. You called the damn Kirk Cousins thing. Oh, but on to me, man. That was good, dude. I appreciate you doing that because I started.
Oh, it was. Look. Number one, don't trust teams or this early in the season. Number two, watch how teams. It's like everybody's panicking here. I'm in the Bay Area. Everybody's panicking about the 49ers. I'm like, that's a really good team. I mean, they got issues. They got issues. That's a good team. Like I know they're getting hurt by injuries a lot so far, but they're going to be there at the end in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to be there in the Super Bowl, but like just relax a little bit. I really do believe that NFL season, like coaches don't freak out as much in the first 3 to 4 weeks anymore as they used to because they understand this is extended training camp.
See, Jace, that's such a good point because you're right. You're like, Minnesota really 3-0 and is Cincinnati really an 0-3 team? How come I don't look at it like that? And I go, I'm not saying Cincinnati's going to rebound. They're going to rebound off the bad start and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, they're not that bad. They've played great. Actually, the quarterback has in the last 2 weeks. He's just gone against some really great opponents. There's no layups in that schedule. So, like, when you look at Minnesota and those teams like that, or even let's start with the Eagles. They're 2-1. I mean, they beat the Packers. Packers are playing great ball even without Jordan Love. They knock off the Saints, which you knew they were going to do, and they drop a game against Atlanta. How do you look at the Eagles right now? Are the Eagles one of the favorites to be in the NFC Championship game?
I'd like to see it play out a little bit more, but I don't see the NFC being overwhelming, right? So I think they're in that sort of I don't know if the group is 3, 4, 5, 6 deep. But I already look at it and go, okay, I see the Eagles in that group. And things change a lot. Injuries happen.
Injuries, right?
Right, and especially in 17 weeks. People don't understand. It's not just a 6% increase in the season. It's much more significant than that, in my view. And so, I think the Eagles, based on what I see today, are one of the 4, 5, or 6 best teams in the NFC. And so I think they're in the playoffs, and they have a proven quarterback who's been there. So, and a lot of weapons. So, yeah, I think that they're going to be right there. And look, Saquon, he's not McCaffrey, but in some ways he's better than McCaffrey. He's not, I don't think he's as good a receiver as McCaffrey, but when he gets out in open field, you're not going to catch him. With McCaffrey, you can catch McCaffrey. Now he's lost a little speed from what he was in college in his first year or two in the pros. But Saquon's he's gonna win a sprint to the end zone.
How about this? Are you more? I'm surprised because I never thought he lived up to being the second player taken in the NFL draft. And I'm also going to apply that to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has never played with anybody in that offensive line, but maybe one guy in his entire time there. Now, I'm not saying that he's some sort of world beater, but the Giants thought enough to give him that contract. If that applies to Saquon, that he never played with good people, when I look at Daniel Jones last night, what if I were to put him on the Steelers with a good organization? I still think the Steelers would be 3-0 with him quarterbacking there, and they'd give them a better chance. He's a better passer than Justin Fields. I mean, is it really just about being in the right place with better talent, like Saquon being in Philly?
Oh yeah, I mean, look, talent makes you better. I mean,
Oh,
I
absolutely.
remember here, yeah, I mean, like who are we kidding? Like you play with talented guys, and yeah, you have to have structure and complementary pieces and all that kind of stuff that we talk about. But you put better guys together, generally they're going to help each other in football. It's a lot of people like to make this point that Russell Wilson was at his best when he had Marshawn Lynch next to him, right?
Yeah.
Well, Marshawn Lynch was at his best when he had Russell Wilson next to him because you had two extremely talented guys, and you can argue about who's more talented. Marshawn's probably a better running back than Russell's a quarterback, but Russell's still really good. But when you put them in essentially a pistol offense, or a read option offense, at early in their career where Russell could still run quite a bit, you gave defenses a headache that they had to deal with and decisions that they had to make, and they slowed down the decision-making process, which made each one of them better as a result. They had their best years together.
Jason, Todd Bowles, am I right when I say this? Do you agree, or do you look at him as being one of those elite guys? When I look at him, you hear Kellen Moore talking about him too. Every time you play against him, he's one of the greatest when it comes to blitz disguises and packages that never throws the same stuff at you. He's a savant as a defensive guy. He's 3-1 versus Hurts, actually, in the 4 times that they played. He was the DC when they won the Super Bowl, obviously, in Tampa. Do you look at him as being one of the more underrated coaches in the NFL? Look what he's done, and look at what happened prior. And I'm not talking Bruce, because Bruce was the guy who recommended him. Prior to those two guys showing up in Tampa, it was like 11 years they hadn't gone to the playoffs. I mean, he's a really good coach.
I think he's a really good coach. Is he a great one? I don't know. Has he had a quarterback or the right situation? Look, anytime you have the Jets on your resume as a place that you coached, like that's not a resume builder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. It's like when you are a head coach under an owner who doesn't know how to run an organization, it's really hard to judge you.
So you're not putting that on your LinkedIn account as a job description.
You can't leave it off, unfortunately, either.
Unfortunately, you can't leave it off, right?
Right. But like it's not a fair fight. And so I just kind of look at Todd, at Bowles, and say, I think he has, like, I think number one, he is who he is. Like the guy that you see in press conferences is the guy that I have met for 20 years and have known for 20 years. Like they're not two different people. So he's honest to who he is. And I think that that's really important, number one. Number two, I think he has a pretty good understanding of what he doesn't know, which is really important. The question I have is, does he have the knowledge to fix what he doesn't know or what is a weakness? Does he have the power to do it? And does he have the gravitas or the willingness to go in and fight for the things that he may need to put his team over the top? I think that he's made them competitive in a division that's down, but he's made them competitive. There's another step to, like, you got to finish.
You know what? You are so good with this, and you're right, because you know who fights for him with the Buck organization? Bruce, because Bruce is still the senior executive, and when Todd needs something, he goes to Jason Light, and it's not really Todd going to Jason Light. It's those two guys having a powwow, and then you know Bruce's his attitude about things. He's going to tell you, not ask you, what we need here, and that's what's made him a great coach. And that's what's made him, I think, a great builder of coaching staffs. I mean, you want to talk about building a coaching staff? Bruce Arians is one of the greatest diversity guys. He's one of the greatest coaches on finding the right people for the right jobs. I think he's one of the greatest coaching staff builders of all time.
Yeah, but there is the question with Todd Bowles is the question that every coach has to face is, are you willing to put something on, or do you have the gravitas or the willingness to put something on the line when you know you need to get over the top? Can you see what it is? Number one, like I always remember listening to Dave Wanstead, and I'm tough on Dave Wanstead, I admit it, but he didn't have the ability and the imagination to break out of the mold of, oh, we're just going to win games in the fourth quarter. We're going to play defense and win games in the fourth quarter. And it's like, that's a nice thing to fall back on, but that can't be your only way of winning.
Jason, let me stop you there and ask you this. Why does a guy like Jimmy Johnson and Bill Belichick, with guys like Dave Wanstead and those guys, why don't those guys ever go on to be? Because do you think they identify them just what they are, defensive coordinators, linebacker coaches, secondary guys, and because they get so much success under their umbrella, it's the next progression of moving that guy up to a potential head coaching opportunity. Not that Dave was awful in Miami, the last coach to win a playoff game, actually, but he wasn't good enough, obviously, to win, and he wasn't good enough, obviously, in Chicago. Do you think they fall under that umbrella? That
sometimes guys are just great lieutenants.
They're glorified position coaches.
Well, they're great lieutenants. Let's not make a glorified position coach, because I think that Dave Wanstead served a really important quality with Jimmy Johnson when they were in Dallas.
And 3 Super Bowls.
He was the good cop opposed to Jimmy being the bad cop, and that was important, right?
Yeah.
And so there are, even coaching staffs have a team mentality. But there are some guys who just they have what it takes and the imagination and the force of will to say, this is the direction we have to go. Now, some guys have the force of will to do that. They don't have the right imagination, like Josh McDaniels he doesn't have the right idea about the guys to pick, right?
Nathaniel Hackett.
Like it just doesn't work, okay? You have to have a combination. You have to have the vision of what it's going to look like and how you're going to form it. And then the willingness to fight for whatever it takes to get that. And that period of time may only last a short while. Like that, like Jimmy was burned really hot. And it only lasted a brief time.
You ever notice he never lasted anywhere more than 5 years? Anywhere.
Right. And most of them were actually 4 years. But
yeah, even Bill Walsh was only 9 years in San Francisco.
Right. Some guys burn out fast. Okay, so that's all to say, like, finding great coaches is just as rare as finding great anythings. Great left tackles, great quarterbacks, great running back, whatever it happens to be. It's a rare quality to find one who can put all the pieces together.
Let me ask you about let's go with some NFL conversation here. Brian Flores. Boy, I'll tell you something. I put on the 22 with him, and I saw him at a press conference this week. He was smiling. He was engaging. I didn't recognize the guy from the Miami guy. His agent obviously got to his ass and said, that stuff that Tua said, you completely have to change the narrative. And Jason, when you put a tape on, he'll put 6 on the line. You don't know who's coming. He drops these guys, and you got 8 in coverage. Quarterback doesn't know what's going on. With that coach offensively, and Brian Flores is doing up there in Minnesota, that team's for real just in the coaching. Brian Flores is a brilliant coach. Do you think he gets another opportunity at being a head football coach in the NFL again? Because when you watch what he does, you sit there and you look at that and you go, this guy is as good as anybody. And I'm talking about Bud Carson kind of shit, not just some dude. He's really exceptional.
Well, he took all the stuff that he learned under Belichick and and took it to heart and
That's
understood.
Bill's best coach. Him and Bill O'Brien are his best coaches that have gone on to do other things.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that a little bit.
Romeo
I think
Crennel was really more of a Parcells guy. He was there in New York.
Yeah, right. But even Rack wasn't. Rack was a great defensive coordinator. Romeo, yeah, Rack.
I love Romeo Crennel.
I do too, but he's sort of like your buddy. He's a little bit closer to being your buddy. And,
Yeah, no.
He's not a taskmaster.
No.
And so I guess I tend to agree with you that Flores has taken a step as a coordinator to a level that you're going, okay, he's got to be on everybody's radar.
You think that Miami thing stained him too much?
Well, I think the lawsuit's gonna,
Okay.
it's tough when you sue people that you're working for.
Well, I saw a quarterback get $230 million guaranteed having lawsuits around his ass. So I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Maybe
but it's different. It's different though when you're suing the people that you want to have.
True. Okay.
hire you. Okay.
Fair enough.
It's one thing when other people are suing you and they want to employ somebody wants to employ you. It's when you're suing the people that, that's a tough one. I hope he does. I always worry about the smiles of this and that. Is he really being true to who he is and all that kind of stuff, or is he putting on a show?
Or is he being a politician?
Is he being a politician? Because the stuff he did to Tua is not. It was just delivered so poorly. It was,
and you know what? It doesn't seem that Tua is going to go out of his way to kill a guy. He doesn't look like he has that personality that he would go out of his way.
It's not that.
It's out of his way.
I think Tua was just honest with the question, and he was now empowered. He just got in his contract. He was empowered to say what, and it was the truth.
No,
I mean, look, Flores Florida. We discussed this before. Flores made it personal rather than professional. And that's the part I hope he learned from. Is it's professional to look at a guy and go, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. It's totally okay to call a guy out on performance and say that. It's a different thing to say you suck. Okay, because anybody who's in the NFL doesn't suck at football.
I never heard my Coach Johnson ever say that to a player. I never ever heard that.
You can hear a guy say you're not good enough, and that's okay. But you don't say that a guy truly sucks as a player. Even when a guy isn't is so far off, he's not going to chance. He doesn't really suck as a football player. He's just not good enough.
So speaking of that, how about the two leading candidates for NFL Coach of the Year are going to face each other with Green Bay and Minnesota?
Are we doing this after 3 weeks? Are we really doing this after 3 weeks?
Well, how about this? I do think that Matt LaFleur not having Jordan Love and being 2-1, and I think Minnesota having Sam Darnold, who was thrown away by 4 other teams, having that undefeated is a pretty good early season story. And I think
I agree with that. I just don't Coach of the Year. We get into these it feels like we're doing the Kentucky Derby. And
but Jason, how many times do you see a quarterback and the season's over like the Jets a year ago when you lose them after the first 4 plays? The Packers are actually playing good ball.
They are. LaFleur is a very good coach. I think one of the most important things that ever happened is they parted ways with Rodgers, because I think Rodgers was doing a lot to undermine him. Not intentionally undermine him, but because Rodgers was tired of the situation and he'd gotten surly. It was just time for the team and the player to part ways.
He was bigger than the team, and they had to move. They had to get that out of there.
Right. Well, and more. He was just crabby. You would see his body language on the field.
He didn't want to be there.
It's not even he didn't want to be there. He was just second guessing everything. So he needed a fresh start somewhere. It worked out. LaFleur's a good coach. He's out of the Shanahan group, a bunch of really great minds who came out of that Mike Shanahan, Washington, coaching situation. Even if the team wasn't successful, the coaches were really good. And so you just kind of look at it and say, yeah, I give him a leg up. And Connell, I give him a leg up. Like those guys are doing a terrific job so far. I just like it's 3 games.
Okay, now you say that. Now let me take you to this game. This is what I watched last night, and this is how I feel right now about the Cowboys. Watch this. Cowboys didn't show me anything that I don't think they are. They're a 5-win team, and I see Dak Prescott, and I compare him to this. When you get a first-class ticket, and you're getting the right treatment, you're getting everything great, it's a really great seat, and it's a first-class ticket. He reminds me of like A-class. It's a nice seat. You're going to go places with it. You're going to get nice treatment, but you're not really first class. And when I look at that, when you need a first-class ticket quarterback, you pay it $60 million. And I look at Dak and I go, I don't feel any different than I do now than I did 3 years ago about the guy. Where are you going with this? I mean, like the options for the Cowboys.
You're going
straight up.
Look, you're going. This is what most quarterbacks are. Is
you can't grade up.
No, you can't grade up because it's too hard and it's too risky, right? But can you milk a year out of them where everything comes together?
Damn.
And you win that, you get that one shot to win a championship. And the guys are,
now you're sounding like a front office guy. Now you're not because of
but when you bring the money into it, that's how you look at it. Okay, when you bring the money into it, it's like I gotta have a guy. And if I have the guy for 12 years, did I put it all together in one of those 12 years and win a championship? And if I did, awesome. Like great. It all came together. If he's a little bit better and happens to play great in the playoffs, like an Eli Manning, right? I think you'd argue Dak's been a better regular season quarterback than Eli was a regular season quarterback.
Oh, by far.
But Eli blows him away when it comes to the playoffs, right? and so it's totally it totally flips, right? So you just kind of sit there sometimes with a quarterback situation and you go, I gotta ride this out. The risk and the cost of going and upgrading is so hard. Like, yeah, there have been a couple of teams that have done it. The Packers went from Favre to Rodgers, all right, because Rodgers fell in the lap. The Chargers went from Breeze to Rivers, right?
Montana to Young.
Yeah, Montana to Young because Young kind of fell into their lap. So there's some luck that's involved in it. But most of the time, when you're trying to truly upgrade your quarterback situation, it costs you an arm and a leg. And you have to make a declaration that this is the way we're going. And that's hard when you have the guy already there.
2 last ones for you, Jace. Belichick. Chicago, New York Giants, Jacksonville Jags, potentially Philly, Dallas, Cincinnati. Which one of those?
Pick the best quarter. Rank the quarterback.
Well, I'm not going to Chicago.
Or rank the power. If you're going to New York, you better have a plan about what you're doing at quarterback, right?
Yeah, I'm not staying with Jones.
No, and
if I were him being that old, trying to chase Shula down, I'm getting a veteran quarterback.
Well, but you have to have that. What is the plan to get the quarterback, depending on where you go? If you're going to Chicago, can you deal with Caleb Williams? Is that going to work out? Like, what are you going to do around Caleb Williams? If you're going to Jacksonville, is it Trevor Lawrence? Because I'll tell you, I ain't seen it out of Trevor Lawrence.
Me neither. I haven't. Do you think Cincinnati would ever in a million years? Because they're not going to sign.
They're not going to pay. They're not going to pay.
Do you think they'd ever move Burrow?
He's going to cut. I don't think they'll move. No, they're not going to move Burrow.
You don't think Joe would want out of there if they're not going to continue to keep it? If you lose,
if Joe wanted out of there, he would have wanted out of there before he went there.
He had a meeting right after the last game here with the head coach and the general manager, and the offensive coordinator right after the game that they lost just last weekend. They walked into the coach's office, and he was pissed off reportedly, and Duke Tobin and all them guys were a little bit upset with what he was saying to them because, he's feeling that they're playing well, and now, you haven't signed Higgins, you haven't given the contract to Jamar Chase. I don't know. Mike Brown with that zipper on his wallet, I know they paid him. I get it. But at the expense of paying him, they may lose Higgins, Chase, and Trey Hendrickson, and that's not a way to build a championship team.
No. And maybe he does force his way out, but I haven't. Again, if he wanted out, he wouldn't have had the meeting.
Right,
What
he wouldn't have cared.
He wouldn't have cared to have the meeting. He cared to have the meeting because he wants to stay there and he wants them to build the team around him. Now, if they don't do that, let those three guys go. I can't believe they're going to let Chase go. I mean, it's just, I see let Higgins go. Higgins he's a really good team.
They've never franchised. Every time they franchised a guy, they've never brought that guy back the following year.
No, because they're too cheap.
That's right.
Once you're like they don't want to pay the going rate, but we'll see with Chase. I just think that they're eventually going to pay the one receiver, and they'll pay the value. I think they'll pay Hendrickson. Higgins has always been the one who's going to go. That's no question at all.
All right, last question here for you. So there's no doubt Josh Allen has looked sensational, and he's better right now. But he
eliminated the mistakes from this game. He eliminated the silliness.
But this weekend, we're going to find out, because in those first three games, you can beat the Jags. You can beat some of those lesser teams that you played without Stephon Diggs. Now you got Baltimore. And on the other side, you got Lamar Jackson, who this is a guy you're paid that money to beat also. Lamar, Josh Allen, this is a great conversation here and a great game this weekend, because this is the power structure of the AFC here. You've got to beat these guys in that quarterback, because you're going to face him somewhere in December or January. You're going to face that guy late in the year. In your opinion, who does this game mean more to heading into this game when it comes to getting their ship right and it comes to creating a narrative? Because Josh has got to beat this guy.
I don't think there's any question it's Josh Allen.
Really?
Any question in my mind. I think that Josh Allen believes he has some scores to settle. Like, there's a reason he didn't go to the NFL awards show last year, right? Remember, he skipped it and he did something else in town. There's a reason he took his little side swipe at Diggs. Like,
I heard that. Hey, we don't have guys up here worried about statistics and targets.
Right. And there's a reason why I think he has played. If you watch, I've only seen one play and that was in the first game, where I thought, okay, that's a problem. Like the one time where I was like, that's not a good decision in 3 games. And this is a guy who made a host of bad decisions last year. I think this is a guy who took that overrated comment and is like, really? You think I'm overrated, huh? Really? And I think he's doing all this stuff, and I think he's out to settle some scores with some people. And Lamar Jackson is one of those people, because I think that he truly believes he deserved the MVP, and there was an argument for it last year. There were just too many mistakes. And again, I've gone over that before. And if he had not had as many mistakes and not put them in so many problem positions, like, he would have won the MVP last year. He did. So he allowed sort of a pedestrian year from Lamar Jackson to beat him out. Well, he doesn't want to be pedestrian. He's not going to let that happen again. And I think he's going to go in there and he's going to show out. Now, does Baltimore have enough to make this a competitive game? Absolutely. Can they keep away with, running on that Buffalo defense and, between Lamar Jackson and, Derrick Henry, who was terrific last week? Yes. Will they not throw on 3rd and 3 with 8 minutes left up, 3 scores? Again, hopefully they've eliminated that play from the playbook. When you have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, don't throw the ball there. Run the clock and run the ball. But so I think it's going to be a terrific game. But I think that Josh Allen, it's not other people who are putting pressure on him. It's him going internally saying, I'm going to show all you people. You got doubts. You don't think I was the MVP last year. You think I'm overrated. You think, Stephon Diggs was right. All that stuff. Here, come here. Let me show you. And that's what I think this year is going to be about for Josh Allen and this week.
Let me sneak another one in on you. The injury to McCaffrey, if it becomes where he's out for the year, what's that mean to the Niners? You're in the Bay Area. What do you make of that if he's out for the year?
Oh, I mean, they're in trouble. I mean, I like Jordan Mason, fine, but I don't like Jordan Mason, with the kind of workload that they're going to have to give him. McCaffrey's the one who makes it work. And the one thing that we can say so far through the first 3 games, even though they're 1-2, Brock Purdy's for real.
Playing great.
Just, the
He's
ball
real.
is
Yeah,
he's real.
He's real.
He's not Mahomes. Don't do that. Don't do that. But he's for real. He's
a real deal.
He's a real deal. They're going to have to pay him and all those kinds of things, right? But you can't win a championship with that team without McCaffrey being part of it. And I'm not, I'm not saying he has to play 12 games or something like that. He can be ready in the second half of the season. But I think you wear out Jordan Mason, and I think you wear the Guerrero kid gets worn out too. And they don't have enough depth at that position that they can survive without McCaffrey.
Jason, am I crazy when I say this, that he kind of, in a way, not to a T, but in a way, reminds me of Breeze?
Who, Purdy?
Yeah.
No, that's an accurate one. The guy he reminds me of in one single way is not arm talent, is not physical talent. When you watch him go to the line and just look over a defense, it's Marino.
You really going to say Joe?
Marino.
Looking
over. I'm talking about this is not about arm talent.
Just dissecting a defense.
I'm just talking about you walk to the line, you go like this.
Oh man, damn.
I was talking to Logan Allen about this yesterday. When he gets to the line, he knows where everything is.
Best pre-snap quarterback to ever play is Marino.
Yeah, and if you had more motion, I mean, look, Peyton was an amazing pre-snap quarterback. Breeze was amazing. Brady was amazing.
Nowhere in that guy's league.
Yeah, but when you just know where everything is, because that's part of the quick release, is knowing where it's going before you get there. Marino just came to the line. It's okay, I know all 11. I know my 11. I know your 11. I know what the popcorn guy's doing in the first 3 rows. It's amazing. And so when I see Purdy walk to the line and just does that little look, and it's really subtle. It's not it's not like this and this and this. It's just.
And Jace, you can say this with his play in 2 years. I don't remember a bad game. I mean, I don't remember a horrible game he's played. I mean,
there's the 3-game stretch without Trent Williams last year. If he doesn't have good protection, he's going to be in real trouble because he's going to get overwhelmed physically.
Who isn't?
Right. And that's it's true for everybody, but especially him because he's not a big guy, so he can get overwhelmed physically, just like Breeze could get overwhelmed physically. But if you're able to play a normal game, like he didn't have Kittle last week, he didn't have
got him this week.
He didn't have McCaffrey, but he didn't have 3 guys. He didn't have 3 main cogs. He made Jawan Jennings look like a superstar last week. Jawan Jennings is a nice player. He ain't a superstar. Come on.
He was. I mean, they get Kittle back this week, so it should be an interesting week this week here to see what goes on because there's some really great games this week. Jace, hey Jace, wait a minute. I wrote a list down just for you.
What's that?
All right. I got a list here because these guys give me a whole bunch, and I never realized until I wrote this down here. I wrote down the greatest dual threat quarterbacks in NFL history.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, Michael Vick, Fran Tarkenton, Russell Wilson. How about this one? And I put Elway here, and I would never put Elway until I realized he had 3,400 rushing yards and 33 rushing TDs. Then I
Yeah.
put Steve Young here with 4,239 and 43 rushing touchdowns. Then you had Randall Cunningham. I didn't realize Randall ran for $5,000 and 35 touchdowns.
Yeah.
McNabb even 3,500 rushing yards and 29 rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen right now has 53 rushing touchdowns and 3,600 yards. Hurts right now is at 26-46 and 42 rushing touchdowns. In your opinion, who's the greatest dual threat quarterback that's ever played in the NFL?
Well, if Elway's on the list, look, I'm partial to Elway. You know that. Emotionally, I'm partial to Elway.
I didn't realize he had 3,500 rushing yards.
Yeah, he did. I mean, just pretty damn good. I mean, he
Dude,
could
3,500 rushing yards. He's got to be in the top 13 in rushing his list of all time.
Mahomes is not on your list, right?
Mahomes is not really big yards. He doesn't have big yards.
No, but God, he's a good runner. He really is a good tactical runner.
But I think he does that stuff when he needs it. Michael Vick too. I mean, but see, when I say best dual threat, who's the best combination of throwing the ball and running is my guy when I'm talking about dual threat. I don't
Well,
want
I mean, look, if Elway's on the list, Elway wins. Okay, like just
over Young.
Yeah, his arm's way better than Young's. Like it's he would tear up. I mean,
So Elway's. I didn't.
Elway, if Elway
him?
had better coaching,
Did you look at him as a dual threat guy?
Yeah, because he ran. I mean,
Early
he ran
in his career, he ran everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the scrambles. Now he's not the fastest one, but the fast guys didn't have the arm that he had. Like Vic had a great arm. Michael Vick has a vastly underrated arm, but he wasn't a great thrower on the run.
You know what, Jason? I played against Elway in Denver. And when he comes to the line of scrimmage, you're shocked at his size. Okay. You're shocked that when he comes to the line of scrimmage, he looks like Randy Gradishaw. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he looks like a linebacker.
Yeah,
and that goes in like McKelly. That goes in like McKelly too. When those guys came to the line of scrimmage, these were big. Like when I look at Patrick Mahomes or see some of these other guys, maybe I'm biased too because that's my era. But those guys were built different. Those guys were just built different, man, than they are today. When I look at Caleb Williams ain't lasting in the 80s playing quarterback. You could break that guy into.
No, I mean, he wouldn't even qualify. He wouldn't even get in the game. I mean, Bryce Young, come
those
on.
Guys would get snapped.
Right. So, it's Elway. Now, who's the most entertaining, the most fun to watch? Oh, geez, yeah, it's Vic. Like the greatest quote I ever had. Orlando Ledbetter who works out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
So it was there one time. He goes, he has that southern twangy, voice that he has, and he goes, I can't. I'm not going to do the voice because I can't do it justice. But he just go. Watching Michael Vick was like watching a James Brown concert. You never knew what was going to happen, but it was going to be a show, right? Absolutely. And that is absolutely 1,000% true. And if Michael Vick had been able to get to Andy Reid earlier in his career, I think his career would be a whole lot different. And I think Dan Reeves did a nice job with Michael Vick. But if he had gotten to a coach who really understood how to get the most out of him and really handle him, Michael Vick would have done just some spectacular things. As it was, he had that one just phenomenal season with Andy Reid in Philadelphia and did some there's that game against Minnesota?
Yeah, playoff game.
It's just it wasn't a playoff. It was a regular season.
Regular season. He had a great playoff game, I think.
Yeah, big playoff game. But he had when he was playing for Philly and he went against Minnesota, I think it was 400 something yards or what. It was just, it was a video show game. It was just, it was that kind of thing. So Michael Vick was the most exciting of those guys, the most entertaining, the one that you were like, I want to see what happens here. but it wasn't necessarily effective, great football. Elway was the one who is effective, great football.
Absolutely. The only thing those Denver teams had back in the day when they were losing Super Bowls was Elway. And that's how he got those teams.
Well, and remember this, his most famous play really is a run.
Absolutely. The twirly in San Diego.
The helicopter, and they had a pretty run, but it's a run.
Yeah.
You know, and as great as his arm was, as great as his arm is, because there's nobody who had a better arm. There's some who had equal. Okay, but nobody ever had better. As great as his arm was, the signature play of his career is a run.
Absolutely. Jace, got to roll. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, dude. Be good.
Have a great weekend. Our good friend, Jason Cole. Do not forget to check out all of his work as well. Hey, by the way, the legendary Philly Godfather is going to join us. Don't forget, if you're looking for a betting house, make sure you check out our great friends at BetUS. Great chance for everyone to have themselves an opportunity. By the way, tonight my Canes play against Virginia Tech, the YouTube 150 up to 2K. That's right. How about this? 150% up to 2K in bonuses, plus 200% in crypto bonuses, and your second one will be 125%. Your third one also will be 125% sign-up bonuses. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business, 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year, live wagering on all major games. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sil sent you.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFC selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save at Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Our good friend, the Philly Godfather, is going to join us, make you some money. My Canes tonight versus Virginia Tech. That'll be at Hard Rock. Weather should be a factor tonight. I think the Canes, again, I think they win that football game. We'll get Philly Godfather's thoughts on that game tonight. Some pretty good games over the weekend. Some really great NFL games. Yeah, I wrote that list down of the greatest I didn't realize Elway had run for that many yards. If I had to rank the top 3 dual threat quarterbacks of all time, a guy that I would want as my 3 guys. Jalen, by the way, is at 26-46 with 42 rushing touchdowns. His number's not that high in passing yards. Plus, 3,800, 3,600. We're not talking about a guy who throws the ball for a lot of yards. He's not a guy who throws for a lot of yards, and he's never going to be. You guys think he's going to have some epiphany season. But boy, Xander thinks he's not going for 4,500 yards. That's not what he is. He will never be that. Steve Young didn't throw for 4,000, 5,000 yards. He was effective. He had great defense. That's the kind of player he is. Like, get this. There is not a chance in hell Lamar Jackson is ever going to throw for 4,000 yards. Never. Now, what was crazy is that he led the NFL in passing yards, or passing touchdowns, I should say. 36 one year. I think it was the first MVP season. I couldn't believe it. And he did it with 3,100 yards passing. Randall's on this list, 4,928. If I had to put my top 3, and I got this list from a guy I respect, I would say Elway is 1. Tarkington was awful great. Cam Newton, Lamar. But Lamar doesn't have a great arm. I want someone that's in the room that does both. Steve Young. Would you put McNabb on that list? 3rd? Would you put him over Russell Wilson? He had Andy Reid, and he couldn't win with Andy Reid. Russell Wilson won with Pete Carroll. Or would you put Michael Vick there? Elway, Young, and would you put Michael Vick? I'm probably going to put Michael Vick. My top 3 dual threat guys ever. Josh Allen and Jalen have a long way to go. Okay? They got a lot of career left. So right now, today, I'd put Elway, Steve Young, and Michael Vick. Those would be my 3 best dual threat quarterbacks. And you got to put better coaching around Michael Vick. Michael Vick needed an offensive. Can you imagine Kyle Shanahan with Michael Vick? Or anyone that knows how to run that RPO that could teach him how to throw the football and read. Andy Reid would have worked. He did work miracles. He made him a Pro Bowler. Steve McNair was awful good too. And I'm a huge Steve McNair fan. Absolutely. Philly Godfather is going to join us in a couple minutes. Just the reset here. In this game on Sunday, Eagles and Bucks, weather is going to play a factor. Injuries are going to play a factor. Todd Bowles has owned Jalen Hurts since he's been in the league. 4 times they've faced each other, once as a coordinator, the other times as a head coach. He's 3-1 versus Hurts. Sacks, 55% completion percentage versus him. Turnovers, more turnovers than touchdowns in the games that he's played against him. Todd's done a marvelous job versus Hurts. It's been like his kryptonite. Todd knows what he's doing. Now, does he have the personnel to do it? That I don't know. I didn't say you never beaten. I said you're 3-1, or you're 1-3 versus Todd Bowles. You're 1-3. versus Bowls. Over-unders 54 in the Gaines game tonight, Sills. It's weather, though. That's why it's not not a high number. And plus, I think that Virginia Tech always plays Miami tough. That 54 number with the weather is about right. Sills, not only is it a rematch for Kellen Moore, but for Vic also to show that he has the best defensive scheme. Only they got to show consistency. They totally have to show consistency. Yeah, Akbar. Randall Cunningham was a first-team All-American at a UNLV as a punter. He made the All-American AP team as a punter, not the quarterback. I mean, he was a tremendous punter. Tremendous. People always were like, yeah, Randall was a first-team AP All-American. Not as a quarterback, he wasn't. At Vegas, he was the All-American punter in the country on the AP team. So he's a great athlete. If JC plays like that every week, well, that is the $1 million question. If he plays like that every week. I mean, Vita Vea is playing. It looks like Cansey's not playing. Personally, I don't believe that Lane, AJ, and it's already been ruled out Devontae's not playing. So you're going into this game with Paris Campbell, Dotson, and who's the other guy that you have going into this game? You have Dotson, and Wilson. Those would be your three guys that you have going into this game. That's not a formidable attack. But you have Barkley and Goddard. This is a big game for Jalen. I think you're going to miss those guys. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin are going to be a challenge for the Bucs secondary. Barkley has been everything that I didn't think he would bring to the team. I didn't think he was going to be this good. Saquon Barkley has been sensational. I got the Eagles winning 27-20. I'm going with the better quarterback. Key matchups. Kellen Moore versus Todd Bowles. You know, it's funny, when I put these matchups earlier together with Xander, you know, it just doesn't favor the Eagles here. Kellen Moore versus Todd Bowles. Todd's a better coach. He's a head coach, coordinator, a Super Bowl winning coordinator. He just knows what he's doing. Is Q going to be lined up on Evans? I mean, some pretty big questions going into this game. As a matter of fact, keys to this Eagle-Buck game, let's do that with our friend Philly Godfather here. We also got some college games. So let's bring on our friend. What? Philly Godfather. He joins us now. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Dan? Everything good?
Everything is great. Got the Canes tonight. Who you like tonight? Canes, Virginia Tech, down at Hard Rock.
Man, it's a lot of points, ain't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the Canes have looked out, they've looked unreal, man. And, I gave them out before the season started. I'm real bullish on them, over 9 wins to win the ACC 4-1. And we actually nibbled on them to win it all. But this is a lot of points, 17.5. The total dropped down from 56.5 down to 54.
Is that because of weather?
Yeah, a little bit of the weather. And I think it's
Virginia Tech plays that team good. I don't ever remember Virginia Tech not playing Miami well.
Yeah, and they can run the ball. I mean, they put up, 755 rushing yards in just 4 games. Now, Miami's rush defense is one of the best in college football. I think they're ranked 8th in the nation in opponent yards per rush attempt, and they're number 1 in the ACC. But this is probably the best team Miami's faced all season. I like the dog here, man. If you can get over 17.5, 18. I would wait because the betting public's all over Miami here. I think almost 7 out of every 10 tickets is on the Hurricanes. So this line might go back up. The right number, it reached as high as 20. That's when I took Tech plus 20. It's back to 17.5, 18. But I think Virginia Tech's the right side here. The they're probably the best team Miami's faced all year. And Miami, the weather, and they can run the ball. I like the dog here.
I'll go back to college later on here. I want to get your thoughts. So first, let's start with last night's game. Did you learn anything new about the Cowboys, or do you look at the Cowboys and still do this? Yeah, man. I mean, that didn't move the needle for me whatsoever, them beating the Giants. They've owned the Giants in the last 14 ball games. They've owned them. I think they're 14-0 in the last 14 of times that they've played them. So, I mean, tell me, did it move the needle for you at all? Did you learn anything from it? Plus, you got an injury with Zach Martin. Now you're also hearing Micah Parsons. Are the Cowboys in trouble? If you're betting on that team right now, man, I'd look 5 to 7 wins. I just don't see it right now.
I mean, last week we talked about how I didn't think they were a 500 team. If they're lucky, they win 9 games on the season. They did beat the Giants last night, but if you look at the box score, the Giants were going up and down the field.
Yeah.
They ended up kicking 5 field goals. I had the Giants plus 5.5, plus 6. So I made some money on the game. But this Cowboys team, they're not impressive. The Giants obviously are definitely not impressive. And if I learned anything about both teams is neither one's pretty good. And I think it's the Eagles and the Commanders division to win this year.
Hey, everyone looked at me at the beginning of the year when I said that the Commanders are going to win the NFC East. How about this? They dropped that game this week against the Buccaneers on Sunday, and Washington beats Arizona and Phoenix. They're in first place in the NFC East. They're tied right now for first place in the East. I know it's early, but, if Jaden Daniels could give you anything of what he gave you last week, this guy looks like he's a real guy, and this guy could be the rookie of the year offensively.
Yeah, we gave it out on your show before the season started. 5-1 to take Jaden Daniels as rookie of the year. And we also said if you want to take a lottery ticket, you can take the Commanders to possibly win the NFC East, even though I did bet the Eagles at plus 115. I still think they're the better team. I think the Commanders' defense, they're not that good, but Jaden Daniels can score with anybody, and we saw it Monday night.
Before I move on to the games, how about this here? Belichick, who do you like a landing spot for? Chicago, Giants, Jacksonville, Philly, Dallas, or Cincinnati? Who could you see Bill Belichick landing on? He loves the NFC East. There's 3 teams, obviously, in the NFC East, depending on what Philly does in the postseason, I would imagine will dictate Sirianni's fate. But how do you look at this here? Where would you think, or do you think he doesn't land anywhere and he continues doing what he's doing in broadcasting?
Age is definitely a factor, and he would
71.
Yeah, it's getting up there, so it's going to get really tough for him if he does decide to come back to the NFL. I don't think Jerry Jones and him would get along. Philly, possibly, but if we've learned anything since Doug Peterson, it seems like Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman want a yes man in there instead of someone that can actually take the reins of this team and do what they want to do. So I hope he comes to Philly. Probably not. Jacksonville, they got a quarterback there. Offensive line ain't that good. Small market. I don't know if Bill wants to go there. Chicago kind of intrigues me a little bit, but again, their offensive line, one of the worst in the NFL. And they got a young quarterback that has shown some flashes of brilliance, but I'm not sure he's the right one. I think Jaden Daniels was the right guy to pick in the draft this year. So it's tough to call. I'm hoping he lands in Philly. I hope they get rid of Sirianni, but it is what it is.
Hey, can you imagine if you're Chicago right now? You moved off of Justin Fields and he's 3-0 in Pittsburgh, and you're looking at what's going on in Chicago right now. That's not a good look for Chicago, Matt Eberflus, when the guy, and not that he's playing, they're averaging only 17 points a game in Pittsburgh right now. It's not like he's overwhelmingly won that job from Russell Wilson, but he is undefeated. That is something to look at there.
Yeah, he's winning. They've been kind of lucky, against the Broncos.
Well, it's their defense.
Yeah, their defense, but turnovers have played a big factor as well. Atlanta turned the ball over 3 times. Broncos turned it over twice. So anytime that happens, you're going to win the game almost 90% of the time. But yeah, listen, he's winning. At the end of the day, every win is big in the NFL. You just got to get there, and they're 3-0, and the guys in Chicago now are maybe starting to panic a little bit.
All right, well, let's get to Sunday's game. How do you see this bad puppy playing out here? Eagles go into Tampa. Here's the latest now. Devontae Smith is out. I think they rolled out Lane and AJ just so that they could put them on the questionable list. That's what teams do. They dress them, put them out there. I doubt those guys go, Lane and AJ. So you're looking at not having AJ Brown and Devontae Smith as your passing targets. And here's the targets: Paris Campbell, Dotson, and Wilson. I mean, you got Barkley and Goddard still, who were instrumental in that game against the Saints. But you're not the same Eagle team rolling into that. Buccaneers and Todd Bowles' last 4 games is 3-1 versus Jalen Hurts, and has done a great job at making him look very uncommon. Tell me what you think.
I mean, the line was 1. It went to 2, 2.5, and now it's back down to 1 with the news of who's playing, who's not playing. I haven't bet the side yet, Dan. I'm really holding out as long as possible to see who actually does play for both teams. And I'm waiting out on the weather, too. There's supposed to be some kind of weather down there as well.
Oh, yeah. It's going to rain on Sunday, supposedly, and it'll be a wet track. So probably more running attempts, which will probably lean to a lower score, right? Probably something like you saw last week against Atlanta.
Yeah, I went under 44 in the game. The game's still 43. I think you could probably cash a ticket going under 43. When both teams are healthy, I think the Eagles are the much better team. You do have some revenge because the Eagles did lose the Buccaneers in the playoffs last season. And to be honest, the Buccaneers got kind of lucky against the Lions. You know, they won that game, but if you looked at the box score, Lions had 12 more first downs, 240 more total yards. And last week they got exposed. Their offense got exposed against a pretty good defense. The Broncos have one of the better defenses in the league. They only had around, I think Buccaneers had about 220 yards of total offense last week. So their offense is The Eagles defense looks like they figured it out. So you got weather. You got an Eagles defense that's playing better. I went under 44. You got a banged up Tampa Bay defense. I lean the Eagles, but I think the right side is going under in this game. I think you'll cash a ticket betting the under in this matchup.
And no Antonio Winfield, but the Buccaneers have a better win on their schedule right now so far, beating Detroit, than what Tampa Bay does. But is it too early to put those metrics together because it's too early in the season?
It's a great win, but like I said, they got lucky. If Detroit doesn't lose the turnover battle there, they probably win that game. So I think the Eagles are still the better team. When both teams are full strength, I think the Eagles are still 2-3 wins better than this Buccaneers team. It's all about the price for me. I don't bet teams. I purchase numbers. So if it was 3.5, I'd probably look to take Tampa Bay. At -1, I'm leaning towards the Eagles, but I like the under better. I think Saquon Barkley has a big game, anytime touchdown. You probably lay 40 cents on that. You could see Hurts run one in. You could probably grab plus 140 or 150 on that prop bet as well. So I like the under, and I lean towards the Eagles here.
Let's get to Sunday games. Denver, as you mentioned, really had a great game against the Bucs last week. Now they go into the Meadowlands and play the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers looking for 3 wins in a row here after getting beat in the opener by the 49ers. Been kind of like on a mini bye here. Who do you like going into this here? Denver at the New York Jets.
I mean, it's the NFL, and this season, I'm not looking to lay more than a touchdown on anyone in this league right now. It is a tough spot for the Broncos. Jets are 7.5, 8-point favorites. And like I said, it's a tough spot for Denver. I mean, you got 2 straight road games for Denver. You got 2 straight.
Why so high? Why 8? 8? That's a big number for this game.
Yeah, I mean, due to public perception, I think the true number on this game is closer to 5. But you do have 2 straight home games for the Jets. New York has extra rest. But like I said, this Broncos defense, I think it's legit. I mean, they're ranked 3rd in the NFL in opponent yards per play. I know it's early in the season, but with that type of defense, I think they can stay within the touchdown here. Denver, they showed they can play. They spanked the Buccaneers last week. And the only reason why they lost to the Steelers and to the Seahawks was because they turned the ball over 5 times in those games. So this Denver team is better than what the record indicates. And when you're getting 7.5 points in the NFL in a year where no team is covering big spreads like that, I kind of like the underdog here.
Shit, man, I'm going with Fireman Ed. What are you kidding me, man? Any guy who bangs on his head has to be a Jet fan or Jody Mack. I don't know. Either one, you could pick one. Depends on who you are here. Those Jet fans are the stupidest people on the planet.
You got to be careful with this Jets bet because their defense is really banged up. Right now they have a -8 health score compared to the Broncos defense. So they're not going to be all full strength. I like the Broncos. If you want to bet a prop bet, I think you can bet over 181. I I think it's 181 passing yards for Bo Nix, and I think Rodgers is at like 216. I think both quarterbacks go over their total for passing yards.
Stupidest fan base in the history of the league are the New York Jets. Honestly, Fireman Ed and Joe Namath. I mean, come on here. Where are we going? All right. Next game, Cincinnati at Carolina. Carolina with the redhead rifle. The redheaded rifle ended up coming in there, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, turned the Carolina Panthers around. Cincinnati. Who would have thunk this one here, man? The 2 richest quarterbacks, or now that Dak signed his deal, 2 guys with $55 million are right now offers. That's Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. What happens in this thing here? Do they right the ship and get a win?
Yeah, it's down to 4, though. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
And last week we talked about the red rifle, man. Last time he started, before last week, he put up 360 passing yards. So he was definitely an upgrade over Bryce Young. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think that kid's a bust, man. I don't think
he is.
You know what I mean, Dan? Do you think he can play? I don't think so.
No, I don't think he can play.
Yeah, so the total here is at 47. The line's at 4. I mean, you would think that the Bengals come out fast. I mean, they definitely need a win. So if you want to lay maybe 2.5 in the first half on Cincinnati, you probably cash a ticket. And if you want to lay 4, they probably cover the spread at -4. I think they're going to put up some points in this game. I think both quarterbacks can throw the ball. So I think the game goes over 47 as well. So I think Cincinnati -4. If you want to lay 2.5 in the first half and go over 47, probably cash a ticket.
And here we go. We go to that game. Jacksonville at Houston. You know, he could be coaching for his job here, Doug Peterson. Houston at home. Houston got beat in the last one by Minnesota, believe it or not. Yeah. Jacksonville needs a win, too, for Doug here, man. How do you see this?
I mean, after watching Jags get blown out Monday night, I really don't want to bet them again, for the rest of the season. But in a game like this where both teams lost by a combined, 64 points last week, and you got a Houston team that's really banged up, and you're getting 7 points, in the NFL in a year that no team's covering a 7-point spread. It's probably the ugliest bet I'm going to make all week, but I'm back on Jacksonville this week, +7, man. I think that Texans defense and their offense is banged up a little too much. Offensively, I don't think Dell's playing. Mixon's banged up. Pierce is banged up. Nico Collins is banged up offensively for the Texans. It's a divisional game. The entire season's on the line for, Dougie P here. I think the game's a coin flip. I think Jacksonville +7 is the right side, and they might even win the game.
The Rams versus Chicago. They go up to the Windy City here. Chicago's offense looks pathetic. The offensive line looks terrible. The Rams have been up and down all year so far. A lot of injuries on the offensive side, especially at the wide receiving core here. So, again, here's another football team with injuries early in the year. What do you like in this one?
It's hard laying 3 points with the Bears, right? I mean,
yeah.
Williams hasn't shown anything. Their offensive play calling, maybe the worst in the NFL this season. They couldn't score a touchdown. Their offense couldn't score against the Titans at all. They were lucky to put up 13 points against the Texans. I think they averaged 3 yards per play against Houston in that game. Against the Colts, they didn't score the entire first half. They kicked 3 field goals in the second half and put up a touchdown. This team struggles offensively, but like you said, they're kind of lucky here because the Rams are probably the most injured team in the NFL going into this game. Their offensive line's banged up. Their secondary, their wide receiver unit, you name it, they're hurt everywhere.
Except the quarterback.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to – I mean, at quarterback and coaching, I mean, they got a huge advantage, right?
Yeah.
Going against a rookie, Caleb Williams and Matt Eberflus. You got a Super Bowl winning coach, Super Bowl winning quarterback. This one's tough, man. At 3, because of all the injuries, I kind of lean towards the Bears here. Now, I like the Rams early in the week, but it seems like the whole unit's just banged up for
every level.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough betting this game. I'm not looking to go out and bet a ton of money on it. But I think Caleb has a good game here because of all the injuries for the Rams. If the weather ain't too bad in Chicago, they're expecting some rain. I know the Bears get their wide receiver back this week. Allen should be back.
Yep, Keenan Allen.
Rams secondary is limping into this one. I guess I'm leaning a little bit now towards the Bears, and I think Caleb Williams goes over 220 passing yards. So, yeah, it's not a big, I'm not looking to, bury the game, but if you want to bet it, probably Bears and over. Yeah.
How about this interesting game, man? You got you've got Minnesota undefeated now with the greatness of Sam Darnold, and you've got Green Bay with what Matt LaFleur's done here with a backup quarterback after that opener in Sao Paulo against the Eagles. They're playing some good ball, running the football well, playing great defense. Josh Jacobs is playing exceptional ball. It's at Lambeau, which is one of the tougher places to play. Minnesota, I'll tell you this, that guy, Brian Flores, on that side of the ball has done a remarkable job with that defense. And the head coach on the offensive side, I'm a buyer in Minnesota here, but Green Bay, Matt LaFleur, these two guys know each other very well from the Kyle Shanahan School of Coaching. What do you like here?
If Jordan Love plays, which it looks like he's going to play, I got to go.
Yeah, he's going to play.
Yeah, the kid's the real deal. Last year, the last 7-8 weeks of the season, he was probably the best quarterback in the NFL. He threw for like 23 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. Probably had the highest quarterback rating. But yeah, if he plays, I kind of like Green Bay. I mean, it's under a field goal, so you're laying 2.5, so you're getting below that key number. The total's at 43.5. Vikings obviously 3-0, looks great on paper, and they got some big wins. They beat the 49ers, they beat the Texans. But again, they beat 2 teams that were really banged up, and they beat a Giants team that blows. So, 3-0 looks nice, but now you got to go to Green Bay, Lambeau Field. I like the Packers here -2.5.
How about this game? This is a show-me game. The Saints versus the Atlanta Falcons. You got to kind of tell me who you are here. I mean, I think Atlanta's good. I think New Orleans is good. And like you said about the NFC, I think the NFC is wide open. I don't think there's a dominant team in the NFC at all, especially now with injuries. Look at what now they're talking about with Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco. Look at the injuries you have now with Philadelphia, man. I mean, nobody's really looking like a dominant team here. And one of these 2 teams, maybe both teams, could still fight for a playoff spot by the end of the season. They're in the sorry-ass NFC South. How do you look at this game here? New Orleans coming off a tough loss, and they go into Atlanta, who beat the Eagles, and Kirk Cousins off a tough loss against Kansas City. How do you like this one?
Yeah, Atlanta opened up a pick'em. They moved 2 points in Atlanta's favor so far.
Wow.
But the betting public, right around 60% of the action right now is on the Saints. They almost started off 3-0. I mean, people think the Eagles got lucky. On paper, the Saints have a better record. They got the better point differential on the season. But I personally think the Falcons are better, man. Before the season started, the Vegas projections had the Falcons a +2 win team. They were supposed to win 9.5 games. The Saints were at 7.5. So when these teams are healthy, when these teams are at full strength, I think the Falcons are the better team. Atlanta's the healthier team going into this game. I like the Falcons here at 2.5. Anything under a field goal, I think the Falcons win the game, Dan.
All right, how about this one here? This is my boy game right here, man. My Washington Commanders, who I picked to win the NFC East, take on an Arizona team. I'll tell you something about Kyler Murray. He's played some pretty good football this year, and he looks like the guy they signed a couple years ago that they thought would, take his game to another level. They get Marvin Harrison. Look what's added to that. I mean, 2 TDs last week. He looks like he's just fit right in. I like Arizona. I think they're getting better, and I think they're getting better on the defensive side. They got a great linebacking core. Washington probably has the best LB core in the NFC East. Jaden Daniels, sensational against Joe Burrow's Cincinnati Bengals, but I don't know if that's saying anything anymore. How do you look at this game? Washington goes to Phoenix to take on the Cardinals.
Mine's 3.5 and 50. It's been dropping ever since the Commanders looked great on Monday night, but I kind of like the over. I mean, how do you not bet the over here?
Big points.
Yeah, you got 2 solid offenses. You got a Commanders defense that's almost given up 90 points in first 3 games of the season, so their defense is suspect. If the game gets to 3, it's all about the price, like I said before. I like Arizona -3. It's a short week for Washington. They got to travel all the way out to the desert. They're coming off a big, huge emotional win. I mean, everyone knows whoever played sports, the final week's a little bit of a letdown spot. It doesn't always happen, but when you're that high, the only place you can go is down a little bit. Like I said, Washington defense can't stop a nosebleed. Commanders are 2-1. But who they beat? They beat, the Giants, a really banged up Bengals team Monday night on defense. I like Arizona here, -3, and I like the over. I think the over gets you the money.
Now, this game, I don't know what you're going to do with this thing. New England at San Francisco, the mash unit here. No McCaffrey, but they get Kittle back. Reportedly that Purdy, who's played great ball. Brock Purdy is it. I mean, he's not going to turn into a pumpkin. He's a good player. And New England might have the worst roster of any team in National Football League. How do you look at this one? Is this a game that you're even looking at, or is this a game that is just off the radar for you?
That's off the radar. 49ers are 11-point favorites. Totals are 40.5. 49ers are banged up. The Patriots are really, really bad. I'm not looking to bet. If I do get, bet the game, I'll give it out on Twitter. So just follow me on Twitter.
Cleveland at the Raiders. I mean, dude, Deshaun Watson is turning out to be the worst contract signed in the history of the National Football League because it's over $250 million that was guaranteed. And more again, I said this last week to you, I'll say it again. You got to think Cleveland would rather have Baker Mayfield back right now than having Deshaun Watson in this room here. And you got the Raiders with the greatness of Gardner Minshew in this game. It is in Las Vegas. They get a new partner going across the street here now, the A's, who left Oakland in shambles yesterday. That was just a nightmare. I'll tell you what an absolute disgrace. You had, get this, 3 years ago, you had 4 teams in Oakland. Now you have none. How do you see this game playing out, Cleveland versus the Raiders?
Wow. That Oakland, those politicians really did a thing to that city. Anyway, the Browns are 1.5-point favorites. Totals of 36.5. I kind of like the Raiders here at home. I mean, the Browns lost to the Giants, got blown out by the Cowboys, and we all watched that game last night, and neither of those teams are any good. This Browns defense isn't the same it was last year. Last year was one of the best ones in the NFL at home, and it just doesn't feel the same. Vegas is the healthier team going to this matchup. They got a quality win over the Ravens. They got some dangerous weapons on offense with Devontae Adams and that kid from Georgia, Bowers. So I like the Raiders.
He was great last week.
Yeah, I mean, at least they got, the Browns, Deshaun Watson struggled. Their offense has been struggling. I'm not looking to invest any money on Cleveland here. I like the over, too. The Raiders' secondary isn't the best. I think they rank like dead last in coverage or second to dead last. And the Browns' defense, they're really banged up. So Raiders and over. Raiders plus the points and over 36.5. That's how I would play this.
You're going to be shocked when I say this. KC at the Chargers in Los Angeles at SoFi. I got the Chargers here.
Really?
I got the Chargers here because I just think that they're going to run the ball on them with J.K. Dobbins. They lead the NFL, I think, in rushing. They may be second in the NFL in rushing. They're going to try to keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes because of the running attack. Herbert is going to play. To me, if there's one way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you have to have a running attack. Yeah. You can't get into a shootout with Mahomes because you're going to lose that draw. You're going to duel him, you're losing that duel. Okay, but if you're going to keep him on the sidelines and limit the plays, I think Jim Harbaugh's got the remedy to beat that KC team because those guys run the ball. And they're a little bit suspect against the run.
Yeah, and the Chiefs have been really lucky this year. They've been one of the luckiest teams.
They haven't clicked on offense at all this year. Now watch them click and put 55 up against that team.
The total's only 40. The line's 7. So you can grab 7 with the Chargers.
Yeah, I'll take that.
They're just really banged up, man. I can't. Chargers, like if the Chargers were healthy, this would be a perfect spot for them. Coming off an L, a loss to the Steelers, at home against 3-0 team. The public's going to be betting the Chiefs like they got the next day's newspaper. It just scares me. They got so many injuries. I didn't bet the game yet, but it just kind of scares me off. Those injuries scare me off.
Buffalo at Baltimore. How about this one here, man? Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Baltimore's secondary has been suspect a tad bit. Not that Buffalo has a gigantic wide receiving core. They do have Kincaid, the tight end, and that kid Bush can run the football. But, I mean, at the end of the day here, the wide receiving core for Baltimore really hasn't shown a lot. They did against Dallas, but if you looked at that game against Dallas, they allowed Dallas to roll back in on them in the third and fourth quarter, whereas Buffalo's been blowing bad teams out. It's a big game for both quarterbacks. Who you like in this one?
Yeah, you got a point. The Ravens gave up 19 points in that fourth quarter to the Cowboys. So something happens to these Ravens teams in the fourth quarter. It seems like teams come back on them. It's still early, but whoever wins this game is probably going to end up in the AFC Championship game with the Chiefs, unless Aaron Rodgers has something to say about it. It's definitely going to be a heavyweight fight, man. You know, the Ravens are just 1-2, but I think they're going to come to play here. The Bills, obviously 3-0, have the best point differential in the NFL. And for some reason, you know, the team with the best record and the best point differential, Vegas is giving you 2.5 points. So the Ravens are 2.5-point favorites. It seems too easy to take Buffalo here, right?
Yeah.
And like we mentioned before, Vegas doesn't give out any gifts.
Nope.
I think the whole world's already penciling in Buffalo to make the Super Bowl, but I would pump your brakes on that. I like the Ravens here at anything under a field. But I think I think Buffalo comes back to earth a little bit this week.
Always remember, when you're going to Vegas, always go to the Crazy Horse. It's a great place. I don't know why you would go to the Crazy Horse, but I'm just saying. Dual games on Monday night. Tennessee at Miami, and I got to look at that game and go, that's not on your radar because the quarterbacks in this, they're like third and fourth team guys, and there we go again with the stripper, Skylar Thompson. So I'm like, you know, I don't know what – and the coach hates the quarterback in Tennessee. So, I mean, I'm not sure. If the coach hates the quarterback and you got a stripper for a quarterback in Miami, I'm not thinking you're on this game. Or maybe you are because there's a stripper in Miami.
I don't like the side, but like you said, you got two dud quarterbacks. You got a pretty good defense with Tennessee, pretty good pass defense with the Titans. Probably go under 37. You probably cash a ticket if you go under in the game, but I'm not looking to bet the side. I think the total's the way to bet that game.
Seattle at Detroit. What do you make of this thing?
Man, Seattle looked really good, right? 3-0.
3-0, right? Out of the gate, Detroit 2-1. Kind of bumpy start to the gate. That's my pick to win the Super Bowl this year. So, I mean,
I got them too. And Seattle's defense has been really good. I think they've given up the fourth or fifth least amount of points in the NFL this season. So, and Geno's looked pretty good. I mean, we got to be honest. Geno Smith.
Hey, that's been a great story up there.
Yeah.
Ever since he got signed by Pete Carroll up there, man, he's done a nice job. I mean, right?
It's amazing, man. I think Detroit wins the game, but I don't think they cover. If you grab +4, 3.5 on Seattle, it's probably the right side. I mean, Seattle's pretty good this year, and they might end up winning that division if 49ers continue to stay banged up. So Seattle's pretty good.
Couple college games here. By the way, did I ever tell you my James Gandolfini story?
Nah.
So James Gandolfini and Greg Schiano were dear friends because James Gandolfini went to Rutgers, and I had a chance to get him on the show. And actually, Greg Schiano got me a audition to be with David Chase. Unfortunately, the final season didn't happen. Gandolfini didn't want to do it, but we had Gandolfini on our show years and years ago when I was on in Miami, WDAE. And one of the reasons he got the Buck job, he used to come on my show weekly because he recruited the South Florida area. And Greg's a Miami Hurricane, former assistant coach. So I'm great friends with him. And I've always kind of kept an eye on the Rutgers program. I think they're undefeated right now. And they're hosting Washington. It was a semifinal game. How do you see that game tonight?
I didn't bet it, but there's some real sharp money on Rutgers. It's a small line, but I respect their opinion. I mean, these guys win consistently and have been betting, almost as long as I have. I started back in 1988 betting professionally. So I think Rutgers is the right side here. But I haven't bet the game.
How about Louisville at Notre Dame?
I haven't bet that game either. The game I did bet is the big one, Alabama, Georgia.
What do you got in that one?
Who do you like first? I want to hear what you got to say.
Right. You're going to have to prove to me that you could pick up the baton from Nick Saban and handle Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart has the best college football roster in the country. And that guy's in the SEC. You were in that weirdo Pac-12, where they paint their fingernails and they do all kinds of other weird shit out there. They smoke out of a hookah. You're down in the Southeastern Conference, son. This is where people play man football down there. And I want to see if you could bring that same energy that you had last year. That Washington team was good, but hey, just because you take over an airplane don't mean you know how to fly it. I mean, that's Nick Saban's thing there. And you're going to have to prove to me that you can beat Kirby. It took Kirby a lot of time to beat Nick Saban, but he had to do it without recruiting him. And I don't think that Alabama roster is better than that Georgia roster. They've lost one game in 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that's a phenomenal program there. I got Georgia winning that football game. In Tuscaloosa.
Line's short, 2.5, 2. It's been going back and forth from 1.5 to 2.5. Georgia got lucky against Kentucky. I mean, you got to be honest.
They did. Kentucky played their – hey, get this. You're right. Kentucky almost took that game from them. But that's the SEC.
Yeah, Kentucky had 11 more first downs. They had 68 more rushing yards. And if they don't lose a turnover battle, Georgia might have lost that game. I think Alabama's defense is better than Kentucky's.
Plus the quarterback's better. Well, the quarterback and the quarterbacks are good.
Milroe can beat you with his legs and his arm. He's got the third best odds to win the Heisman behind our guy Cam Ward and Jackson Dart right now. So if Alabama wins this game, Milroe might join Cam Ward as the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. So this is
maybe I'm just looking at too much Belichick, or maybe I'm just looking at too much Saban here. And you're probably right because at home,
it's tough.
Better line, Alabama.
I think Alabama can run the ball much better than Kentucky. They still got a top 5 offensive line. They currently rank, I think, top 10 in the nation in yards per rush attempt. Kentucky's around 70th or 75th in that metric. So if Alabama can run the ball and keep that offense of Georgia's off the field, now they look, Georgia's offense looked good against Clemson. They put up 34 points, but Clemson has one of the worst defenses in college football this year. I think they're ranked 100th when it comes to defense. So, I don't really look at that big win and putting up all those points. I look at the other game against Kentucky more than anything. I kind of like Alabama here. I took them plus 2.5. I took them on the money line. I think the wrong team's favorite. Most people are taking Georgia. They got the second best odds next to Ohio State to win the whole thing. But I think this Alabama team's pretty good. I think both defenses are about the same. I think Alabama's offense is better, and I think the quarterback's better. So I like Alabama here. I'm against you on this one, man.
Hey, man, I want to see that guy go in the SEC and win that game against Georgia. I want to see. Hey, you'll make me a believer if you beat Kirby Smart. You're lucky it's in Tuscaloosa, but I think that's going to be one game to watch, no question about it. Tell the folks where they can find you, my friend.
Yeah, it's called X these days, right?
Yeah, that thing X.
At Philly Godfather, and the website's thephillygodfather.com.
2 guys rated X on X. Philly Godfather and Big Sills. Brother, we'll catch you next week. Have a great weekend.
Good luck, guys, man. Have a good one.
Oh, good, man. We appreciate him always coming aboard with us here. Thank you guys so much. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like list here. Absolutely great weekend. 27-20, I got the Eagles beating the Bucs. Don't forget our pregame show on Sunday and our postgame show also on Sunday. We so appreciate you guys. Xander, Big Joe, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. 2 to 6 on Monday. Angelo Cataldi will be with us along with Gary Cobb. Have a great weekend. Go Canes tonight, and we'll see you on the flip side.